Hello, everybody, and welcome back after a week's hiatus to your Saturday evening serving of the eSports F1 Creator Series. And we are deep into the business end of this campaign. Just 3 races remaining on the calendar, spanning 3 different continents. But tonight, we touch down deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. Welcome to the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. This 20-corner roller coaster is our battleground this evening, and the runway is very much running out for the chasing pack to launch a late-season assault on Lodenoba, who boasts a formidable 27-point advantage atop the championship standings. And with Raz and Chai absent tonight as well, the burden falls squarely on the former 2-time Creator Series champion Tiamat Marduk. Tonight, he looks to be the solitary foil to try and stop the championship charge of the Italian stallion in the Prancing Horse. I think you can agree. A lot at stake tonight, plus a wild card thrown in the mix that we'll get into in due course. And I'm sure you'll also agree, it requires the very best in the business to guide you through proceedings. So how about I introduce you to them? First and foremost, our man on the ground tonight, the best embodiment of Ted Kravitz. He even shares his initials. It is, of course, Tom Knight. TK, this championship battle tonight, essentially going to be a game of high-speed Texas Hold'em, you could say. Lodenoba with that 27-point buffer, afford to play the percentages, and you've got Ben, who may be getting to the point where he has to go for broke as he sits down in the last chance saloon.
You're absolutely right, Tom. It's going to be that who's got the better poker face here tonight, who has got the guts to go for glory, who is going to be definitely a little bit stale with their cowboy boots in tow. The questions will be answered over several laps here at the Circuit of the Americas, but, of course, last time he came here, Tiamat Marduk did walk away with that victory, so maybe hopes could be on his high.
And if you're looking at momentum, well, if we take a look at what happened 2 weeks ago, maybe it is just shifting ever so slightly, because in Australia, a fortnight ago, it was Tiamat Marduk taking the victory for the first time in his home nation, with Lodenoba slotting in just behind in second, GB Dakovins and Adam Sanderson rounding out the top 5. Big points for Red Bull in the Constructors, which we will also talk about in a moment or two. Is that a momentum swing for Ben? He's back on the top step of the podium, returning to the winner's circle, and this is a circuit that he goes very well at.
He's certainly back to the winning ways of the classic Tiamat Marduk that we've come to know and love over many seasons. Has he left it somewhat too late to launch a championship charge? I mean, for Ben, never say never. Look at season 6, literally the final corner of the final race of the season, managed to make the all-important pass. But again, Lodenoba has come in after not only winning in Formula 2, but looking oh so strong in F1 as well. And you have to ask yourself, this man probably deserves a championship at this point.
Hard to disagree, have to be said. And it will be a fascinating duel, I'm sure. And if we just turn over the page from 2 weeks ago to have a look at the full complexion of this championship crusade and the championship standings, we will see how the picture looks. Lodenoba, as we said, 20 points or 27 points clear as things stand. Only finished off the podium twice this season, very close to the personification of perfection. But Tiamat Marduk arriving here, riding the crest of a wave, only his second win in his last 35 starts a couple of weeks ago, and a very good bounce back as well after the early collision with Alex Gillen in Zandvoort the week prior that took him out of contention. No Raz and Chai tonight, all but extinguishing his title hopes, which brings us, TK, to the interlopers that will definitely have a say. To Kareem 70, not in the richest vein of form, but he is never one to discount. We've got the relentless consistency of Vince, the absolute wildcard of Alex Gillen, who's back tonight, and potentially, depending on how much his throttle survives or gets fixed in the first place, we've got Meraki, the reigning champion, potentially stepping back into the hot seat as well.
It's bizarre to come into a season and say the previous champion is an unknown quantity tonight, because we haven't seen him for the majority of races throughout the course of the season. We're seeing him again tonight. He's looked strong on previous appearances, but obviously when we head to COTA, we head to a circuit that we don't traditionally run that often here in the Creator Series. I think, as long as I'm aware, the last time we ran was back in season 9 or season 10, so has been a long while. It's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to how the season's gone, adapt to each and every driver's pace as it stands. And yeah, just getting clarification, it was season 9, right at the very start, that we saw COTA on the calendar. So again, there is so many unknowns with Jake at the moment.
Absolutely. And if we look at the potential epicenter of chaos, you can bet your bottom dollar Alex Gillen's going to try and blunder through that door as well to just cause a little bit of carnage. If we move over to the team standings, Ferrari still in control at the summit, but after a season's worst return, just 20 points a couple of weeks ago, that armour is just starting to look a little bit weaker. Just 15 points now, the gap between themselves and Racing Bulls, who are, of course, missing Raz and Chai, but with Safso still there and B-Roy returning to the Creator Series after a long time out as well. That's definitely something we need to keep an eye on. as we do with Red Bull Racing. If Tim Marduk and Adam Sanderson can maximise their haul today, as they did a couple of weeks ago, they can absolutely mount a late-stage coup and sneak through the back door.
You are absolutely right. As you said, the only team in the top 3 at the moment that has their permanent fixture of drivers available for today's race. So you mentioned Razin not being here for Racing Bulls, Ricky being replaced by Sparks at Ferrari. So they are the only team that have their full roster available. And we know how well Ben and Adam can work together, for good or for bad, when they manage to get their heads and they get their act together. So who knows? We might see a Red Bull Masterclass here in Austin, Texas.
We've seen bigger comebacks, not just in the constructors, but like you said, in the drives as well. Even last season, Ben coming from comfortably over 40 points back behind Meraki to take it to the final race. So that is going to be fascinating, and I'm really interested to see how this dynamic plays out. But a championship battle is absolutely nothing without the voices that'll be guiding you through the action. I'm delighted to say I've got 2 of the best in the business, everybody, tonight, controlling the microphones. First and foremost, the man who has proven that commentators aren't just washed-up drivers, former Creator Series Grand Prix winner Carl Pranik, and returning to the Creator Series Combox, the legend himself that is George Morgan. Both of you welcome in. George, I'll start with you first. Welcome back, first and foremost. But
thank you.
You've been watching the action from afar this season. What have you made of the emerging storylines and the progression throughout this campaign?
I will say this. First of all, foremost, everybody, thank you so much for having me back. It's been an absolute pleasure watching the series unfold, as it always does. And a great start. Lolin Ober, obviously the story, I think, this season. And it's unbelievable, really, to see how far he's taken that Ferrari car. Obviously, a little bit of passion, I'm sure, is involved in that. You know, both of them hail from the same nation, of course. Everyone wants to take the Ferrari to the top, to the pinnacle in Formula One. Tim Marduk, who I've actually had the pleasure of commentating 2 championships in the past. If we look back, Carl, you were there with me for that absolute swan song of a race we had at Paul Ricard. Absolutely sensational. Obviously, fair bit of controversy, albeit, but we know that Tim Marduk can pull off the odd extraordinary moment, it has to be said. And one of the most winningest drivers we have seen in the Creator Series in its history. Of course, Alex Gillen with 30 wins is the long reigning supremo of this championship. But with the most podiums, Tim Marduk, by far the most consistent driver in the field. So he's always going to be dangerous. And if he keeps on collecting points, who knows where this championship's going to end up, especially after his win last time out at Australia.
Definitely someone that's never going to go down without a fight, I think, is our Australian ace. Carl, if I come to you as a man who can quite capably hold a candle to some of the big dogs in this series, and you know this game as well like the back of your hand, what is the setup balancing act going to be around a circuit like this, where you've got the S's, the high-speed turns of the first sector, and that slow, real mechanical grip torture chamber of the final sector as well?
It's a good question. It's tricky, to be honest, particularly with certain...
That wonderful word wildcard in the equation.
But it's obviously a bit of a tricky one, to be honest with you. Obviously, I'd urge more caution on trying something a little bit higher downforce to try and protect the tyres, to try and see yourself throughout the course of the race. Naturally, it depends on what philosophy you want to go for. We know F125's metas. We know that straight line speed, low downforce is usually the way to go because you can offset that dirty air. If you have that surplus of straight line speed, you can save the battery. There are a myriad of benefits of having that. But around the track, like you say, of the Circuit of the Americas, where you have the S's section, where you have to have all of the downforce you can possibly weld onto your car, sometimes running that lower downforce can be one compromise too far.
Fascinating bouncing out, really dancing on that knife edge of do you go for that risk or do you play it a little bit safer? And George, if we think about the wild card as well, got to use all 3 dry tyre compounds, regardless of whether we have rain at all in the race. We know how this game works. The hard tyres, very, very strong. Soft tyres, not great. Medium tyres, not particularly strong either. That is just going to force the drivers to be a little bit creative and just think on their feet more.
Absolutely. It's one of my personal favourite wildcards. I think I have to say that. And I don't often praise the wildcards, but this one I will, because it does actually enlarge the possibilities for every single driver on the grid. Especially when you get late safety cars, things of that nature. All of a sudden, if you've got that soft tyre spare right at the end of the race, that can very easily change the entire complexion of how things can unfold. And especially at COTA, where things can get rather technical, albeit we've got the long straight going in towards Sector 2, coming out of Sector 1. But when you consider Sector 1, the heavy braking zones, the final sector, the twisting, the turning, the high load that you put on the tyres as well coming through the final few corners, it is going to be a challenge for the drivers. And it's really going to be more of a chess game than ever, especially over the full race distance that we, of course, nurture here in the Creator Series. So yeah, it is going to throw a massive spanner in the works. It could effectively nullify a pole position or pole position's very purpose, which often happens in the Creator Series.
Very interesting. Going to have to treat some of those tyres like gold dust. So we can bring TK back in as well. I want to get the predictions in so we can make all four of us look like fools in maybe a couple of hours' time. If we go down the line, we go for a quali prediction, then a race prediction. George, starting with you.
Oh, good question. I'm going to go with the man. Well, I was going to say the man with most poles. I just worked out this Rasin Chai and he's not here tonight. So that's a massive shame. But I'm going to go probably with the man with more straight line speed this season than most people. I think I'm going to have to go with championship leader Lolin Ober. I can't see past him for this one.
Interesting. Back in the championship leader. Carl, do you concur?
I do concur, to be honest with you. I also did the Rasin thing when he wasn't here in Australia last race, so I know your pain. But I think you can't pass over Lolin Ober. He's imperious. He's on an invincible streak at the moment, and if he continues the way he's doing with his level of consistency, nothing's going to stop him.
2 down. TK, are we striking out on this one? 3 for 3 with Lolly?
We're not. I'm going to go for an answer that's slightly out of left field here, because I'm going to say Meraki. I think Jake, he's come back. He wants to prove something. And sometimes when you see that fired up Jake, he just finds pace out of nowhere. So I think that's going to be my guess.
Ooh. I'm going to go for Ben as well. I'll throw it in there also. But we are getting ready to head into your 18-minute qualifying session. Hope you're ready, everybody, because this could be a barnstormer. With your commentary team for tonight's action, it is going to be Carl Poranic and George Morgan taking you through.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. It's great to be back, everybody. We welcome you also to the Circuit of the Americas, and for the first time, we see cars venturing out onto the track. Carl, we're all set for this one. 18 minutes of qualifying action. A track where we've only experienced 3 different appearances at this track in the history of this series. Of course, going back to the very first season, it was Bushy Ants who took pole position, and Hayden Gullis. We don't often count race wins for Gullis, especially in Season 1. That was the one, I think, occasion where we did witness a gold stamp against his name.
Absolutely it was. And well, to be honest, let's have some more. Why can't we sprinkle more gold dust onto the rest of the grid to see who's going to just provide that little piece of panache in qualifying? We've got Mr. Safso out. Of course, he seems to be the designated driver to be first out for an Interspole charge in that RB car. Of course, no real reason to preserve those wet compound tyres unless there is rain for the race, of course. But in this case, not mandatory. You can blitz through those tyres and see what you can do. Interspole, 1 extra point on the board. The man who's been imperious form recently, though, is the Ferrari on an outlap. Championship leader Lolin Ober. Got it last time out in Australia. If he continues the way he's going, like I say, there's not much that can stop him.
Yeah, of course, took Interspole all the way back in Saudi Arabia at the very start of the season also. So has been on a relatively strong run as far as that's concerned. I believe it's only 2 Interspoles that he's actually had against his name, I think, since the start of this season. Timet Marduk, though, will be looking to chip away at his heels, try and close down the gap. Lolin Ober still leads the championship as the lone Italian today. Will it be pizza perfect or just not quite pizza perfect, I suppose. But yeah, Lolin Ober, great to see him flourishing here in the Creator Series. And we talk about some of the stats for this man. This is his 54th race in the Creator Series here tonight. 7 wins in totality, and has definitely been on quite a lurching run. 16 podiums as well. If you consider the ratio, races competed in against podiums, and even so, top 10s, 34 top 10s in 54, or should we say 53 appearances, because that's, of course, prior to this particular race. That is an impressive score when you sort of put the two side by side.
Couldn't agree more. It's a really impressive return rate. I think it's what's impressed me more about Lolin Ober is just how quickly his rate of improvement has skyrocketed, particularly on F125, particularly from last season to this season. You can tell he's put the work in. You can tell he's gunning for bigger results. He knows exactly what he can extract out of the car, as this man Safso knows he can do as well. Season 1 champion, making his way through Purple Sector 2, because he is the only one to have done it, but that doesn't matter. We'll ignore that. Flick the wheel in, hope that the front end bites in. That looked pretty compliant to me. And how brave do you dare to be on tyres that are not adept for the conditions, when the rear tyres are screaming out for resuscitation all the way through? The answer is it looked pretty nice and composed indeed. Wide at the penultimate corner, that's always the risk you run when you don't have that optimal bite into the bitumen. Through the final corner, our first Interspole time gauntlet is a 1:37.3 from the RB.
Yeah, that guy Vince, also purple inside the middle sector so far. Lolin Ober was briefly quickest inside the first sector. Scotty Designs has actually just ripped that up and is now started to charge as well. But bear in mind, we will be seeing these times improve and improve as the session goes on. Plenty of time, folks. Of course, just over 13 minutes and 50 to go as we now witness that guy Vince make his way up towards the line. 38.1 in that middle sector, charges into the top with a purple final sector as well to match. But where is Lolinoba going to be? 25.7, 38.1, as now we see second fastest for Concept 7 ahead of Zafso. Ryan L, 83 fourth. B-Roy looking to lay down his first marker. Lolinoba to the top after a storming final sector. A 136.032, the fastest intermediate tyre runner so far. Mango Slayer also purple inside the first sector, and Scotty Designs who's not messing around with the intermediate tyre. He's out on slicks. And also we have what looks to be the Mercedes of Matt212 purple in the middle sector too. So quite a few cars not conforming to the intermediate tyre lap.
Very interesting indeed. I was eyeing up Alex Gillen to potentially challenge Lolinoba. Had a faster sector one time, completely butchered the middle sector though. And of course an invalidation was never going to help his cause as Scotty Designs, by the way, goes quickest with a 33.6. Quickly snatched away from him by Matt212 into the 32s already. Kareem 17. He's relatively proficient on an Inters run. He's a couple of tenths down on Lolinoba at the moment, but if he gets his last sector correct, that could spell a potential point on the cards for the Aston Martin.
Yeah, Matt212 certainly no slouch on his day as we see a cracking drift from Karim 70. Mango Slayer now popping himself to the top in the Haas, of course, will be alongside Meraki for tonight's affair. A true maestro of ball knowledge. He is Jose Mourinho. That is Karim 70. And now crossing the line, 9th quickest. Not quite enough, though, to disrupt Lolinoba at the top of the shop as far as the Inter's pole lap is concerned. There's now Timoth Marduk, former two-time champion of the EA Sports F1 Creator Series, now in a Red Bull and goes 5th fastest now this time. Only 2nd fastest in terms of intermediate pole laps. But it does look like we have crossed the 12-minute point. It is Lolinoba who is your fastest intermediate runner, and that's another point to his quarry this season.
A pizza Inters pole for another pizza Inters pole. It's the domino effect for Lolinoba as he takes home the extra point. That'll help his championship crusade a little bit, and now it gets interesting. Now they can push to the absolute limit, blitz the soft tyres as much as possible, as we see B-Roy going out for his, well, Inters pole run, quote-unquote, but the problem is he's way past the cutoff, so it would not count anyway. A big welcome back to B-Roy, by the way, in the RB car, alongside Safso. Speaking of Safso, he's out for an outlap, but we'll see where we go from here. That pole position time, you're looking at this first sector as we see Grid Jokes going purple through the first sector. It's all about chopping those curbs as much as possible, optimizing traction out of those last two corners as Ben is disconnected from the session, and we have a fact that Tales will tell that Grid Jokes actually has so many jokes, we're needing a new binder to keep them all in.
Yeah, we certainly do. We certainly don't have enough space to accommodate them all, but certainly as far as Grid Jokes is concerned, a really impressive first sector to kick things off. Of course, alongside Brandon Miles here tonight, who has gone 3rd fastest in that middle sector as well so far. And if we actually look at Grid Jokes' prior form, 7 top 10s, this is his 18th race in the Creator Series, certainly as far as the F1's concerned. Many of these drivers moving up from the realms of F2 in the past. Grid Jokes looking to lay down the foundations of a decent lap time, and that middle sector time of a 36.6 is enough to steal purple away and could yet find himself tickling the top end ahead of Mango Slayer 69, who still holds all the cards with a 132.536. Here comes the Kick Sauber flying around the final corner. This time, happy Italian noise is coming from Lolinoba, but I can tell you what, hilarity coming in from Grid Jokes, because he now goes provisional 1st fastest to 131.837. 2 purple sectors to boot, and now stands tall above Mango Slayer by just under 7 tenths.
Shining in the sunset spotlight, that is Grid Jokes for you, ladies and gentlemen, as Safso goes across the line to start his soft tyre flying lap. So that's the gauntlet laid by the green machine. What can the RB do? Fabio won't be sending a lap time. He's still out on the intermediates. Is someone going to tell him? Is someone going to tell my man that it is not time for the Inters pole? Time is of the essence, my friend, as he heads through the stadium section. Brandon Miles with the crowd at his feet, but he leaves them, well, leaves them begging for more as he peels into the pit lane. A 33-0 though. Good time to find. He's just a few tenths behind Matt 212. Plenty can be extracted from there as everybody looking to optimize their tyres. Just try and ramp up the confidence as well as Sparks flirts dangerously close to the curves. But that's how much you have to chop it. If you extract the most potential out of not just the car, but the track as well in the game, you will yield handsome results.
Well, Sparks definitely using all of the circuit there, you can just see, taking as wide a apex as he can. We got terminal issues for Benjamin Daly right now. Reports of his stream dying, as well as his access to being able to get into the game. So it sounds like he's got some real serious problems over there right now. Currently 7th fastest in our timing screen as things stand. He's still in the pits, but with 8 minutes and 30 to go, it looks unlikely that he's going to be, able to field an improved lap time. So this is really not good news for the Red Bull driver, who is chasing down Lolinoba at the moment for points. Obviously 27 points behind right now. Ideally needs a good result here at Kota as Zavso goes first fastest to 1:31.768. We're currently watching that guy Vince, a former race winner here in the Creator Series as well. Only once has he managed to pull that off, but I can tell you it was emotional. He's been part of this series for quite a long time and now looking to ferry in his grandest results. Sitting inside the top 5 of the championship, his sole podium coming in via a P3 at Hungaroring for round 3 this season. And now charging down the back straight, DRS Open here for that guy Vince in the Mercedes. Currently just sat behind him at Marduk. Only a small, minute gap between them as it stands, as Lolinoba goes quickest again with a 1:31.048. And that is a trio, blistering trio of purple sectors there. And that is just over nearly 7.25 tenths quicker than Zavso, Season 1 champion, in 2nd place.
That's outrageous from Lolinoba. He is absolutely gunning for this championship. Caution to the wind has been thrown. Beefy seal is here. Wrong weather conditions, my friend. It is bone dry out here. Through the final corner goes that guy, Vince. Rather conveniently, it was me and George in the box when he won in reverse Zandvoort. The answer is, though, it doesn't look like, well, the time's not showing up for us. There it is, finally, a 1:31.942. Whisker away from Chappers in the top 5 for the moment. But how about that for an ominous omen to carry on for the rest of the session? Lolinoba over 7 tenths quicker than anyone else at the moment.
Yeah, still a snake, and depending on his Amazon delivery driver's driving ability, maybe a snake without a throttle. That is Meraki, everybody. Currently not with a lap against his name on his return to the Creator Series. And in the dying 6 minutes and 30, he needs to land a crucial blow. Alex Gillen also chasing a first recorded lap time. He's purple inside the first sector and throwing caution to the wind, but only enough to go 2nd fastest. And that is still a 6/10 of a second gap between himself and Lolinoba right now. The Italian still at the top now as Concept 7 goes 8th fastest as well. More and more times coming in. We have got Grid Jokes now dropping to 4th, just ahead of Chappers F1. Mango Slayer, who was provisional first fastest, he's now 7th quickest as it stands. And now we have Karim 70, former champion as well, one-time champion. As it stands, the 2 most winningest drivers in terms of number of championships accrued. Guess who they are? Tim Marduk and Alex Gillen.
I can beat Ryan.
As we now watch them come into the pits. Fabio basically saying proceeds to list who he thinks can win. Obviously, your take poll. Honestly, it's a who's who, really, of drivers on the grid here today. Lolinoba, though, still standing tall and in control.
I mean, that's a pretty safe prediction, truth be told. I think we might be in the clear, George. I still hold... Well, I fervently believe that Fabio still has that, deep-rooted love for the Tifosi, because in that McLaren, he seems to always be at the back until the very end. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying anything, but the evidence is there for all of you to see as Kareem 17 flies through the penultimate corner. It's amazing the amount of speed you can just flick the car in, and it will comply. It will hold on. Kareem 17 crosses the line. It's P2, but still... Lolinoba holds the advantage. Kareem lost 2 tenths in the first sector. 2.5 tenths in that middle sector. No one can hold a candle to the championship leader at the moment.
No, not at all. And big thank you to our producer, Gareth Allen, for alerting me that I can actually unmute this my view on the broadcast. I'm hearing word that we do have audio for the clips now these days, comments from the drivers and things of that nature. So I do apologise for that, folks at home. My fault honest to God. But we've found it now, so we get to observe the drivers making their way across the line. Quite nice for me to hear the ambience of the engines as well as they make their way across the line too, as we watch Meraki, now 12th quickest after that last lap, personal best of a 1:32.816, but will need to improve if he wants to launch himself inside the top 10. It is still Lolinoba in control, Karim joining Lolinoba up at the top. I remember these two having a huge crash at Miami, I think going back a few seasons ago. A staunch rivalry. Karim, of course, in his time, as I said before, a former champion in his own right. 7 wins. He took that campaign in Season 9 with 8 podiums, 5 pole positions. B-Roy makes his Creator Series F1 return today after 586 days. That's extraordinary. I knew he was here before. I just didn't realize it was that long ago, Carl.
I know, and hoping to bring some Floridian flair with him as well. As across the line goes B-Roy for a 35.2, but very much still reacclimatizing himself to the F1 fraternity. Meanwhile, anybody else I can see on a lap, well, to be fair, I'll give the flowers to Mr. Adam Sarnason as Rejoice, his teammate, has returned. Tiamat Marnik is very much back, but Adam Sarnason currently sits in PA in that 131 bracket. He's come on leaps and bounds as well. I've been thoroughly impressed with his rate of improvement as well.
Yeah, he has been absolutely phenomenal. If we look back and remember his initial stance, taking part in the Creator Series, it wasn't easy for him to acclimatise. We're now into his 55th outing here in the Creator Series now this time. But remember, he is a former podium sitter, 15 top 10s. Of course, he's had his fair share of DNFs as well at the same time, 7 of them in total. Though if you weigh that against the number of races he has partaken in, it's not actually that bad. But at the same time, Adam Sanderson, what a rise he has been on. Safso Season 1 champion returns and goes second, just in behind Lolinoba. No one able to get close enough to the Italian at the top of the tree right now. Here comes Scotty Designs, by the way. Scotty finally learned what the start streaming button does. Congratulations to him. He's so used to recording and making videos. Streaming is a little bit of a side hustle for young Scotty.
It really is. Our resident flying Scotsman just darting and dancing the car through the left hander, through the triple right, and in fact gets well out of the way as we have team radio.
Look at this juicy suck! Oh, baby!
Well, what can I say? It's all the quotes you'd come to expect from the Creator Series. Absolutely fantastic.
That is extraordinary. Big thank you to our maestro of the clipbooks, TK, providing us with all the action over on Alex Gillen's stream. Currently 4th fastest at the moment. Every single driver now out on outlaps pretty much, and those that aren't are currently fielding lap times or on cooldown runs. Here's Meraki now charging through the final sector as we're seeing it now. He peels through out of turn 17, 18, and now through towards turn 19 around this 3.426 mile circuit, 20 turns in total. The former champion who took down Benjamin Daly on the road to the title in Season 4 now moves up into 9th fastest, just behind Tiamat Marduk's teammate Adam Sanderson in 8th spot, but still no way near in the position to strike against Lolinoba, who's still in control right now. Tiamat Marduk looking to gamble with a one last chance to dance. Remember, he's been having issues right through the course of this session so far. Stream issues, game issues. He's going to field just 1 lap time to lift himself now out of P17. He's laying all his chips, stacking them to the center of the table here, Carl.
Harry Fabio with a purple Sector 1. According to the game, at least, we all know that is sometimes a graphical foible. We'll find out all the details in a moment as he pinches the car into the hairpin. Massive snap of oversteer. Humongous elbow full of opposite lock. He does manage to catch it, but that's going to hurt him all the way down this straight, where momentum moves mountains, and then you have to spot your braking point about the 100-meter board. Take as much of that inside curve as possible. A little bit of time left on the table once again in the one-shot deal for Fabio. No purple in the middle sector, at least according to the track map. But as for everybody else, well, it is that final flurry. They've kept their guns holstered, and now it is that quick draw. Who on earth could ever topple Lolinoba, if they even can?
That is the big golden question. Has Fabio got an answer? 2 sectors that are showing personal best, as you'd expect, as unfortunately invalidated prior runs. But this now to be his first official flying lap. 2 fairly decent sectors across the line. Only enough for 11th fastest. No way near enough for where he needs to be. That guy Vince, also looking to improve, has actually found green in that middle sector. Time is up. We're into stoppage time as we now await the drivers to cross the line. Grid Jokes going 3rd. just in behind Sasso, not enough to topple PS1 Hagrid or our Season 1 champion, as now Vince rounds the final corner now, coming out of turn 20, now charging up towards the line with DRS open. He goes second fastest, but not enough to topple Lolinober again. The gap is getting closer. Here comes Lolly, here comes Alex Gillen. He's making his way through the final corners, caution to the wind, but invalidates in the run. That certainly will not enlist an improvement. And last but certainly not least, Tim Marduk with one final lap to try and turn this all around. Goes second fastest, not enough to take down Lolinober. Karim 70 with a huge blow to take second himself. Lolinober still on top for now. A few drivers left across the line. Ryan L, 83. He's going to move his way across to go 19th fastest, not troubling the sharp end at all. Adam Sanderson moves up a spot into 9th place. But it looks like it's Lolinober, as Scotty Designs, who seems to be having trouble. B-Roy's missing a front wing. The Italian Stallion has done it again. A pole sitter once more. He looks good for the championship. That is his second pole position in the Creator Series, with Karim on the front row alongside him.
They all got close. They all came oh so close. No one could quite hold a candle to the man in the championship crusade, though. Great lap. The first initial lap on the soft tyres when the track wasn't at its most optimal, and he still got pole position. Yes, the invalidation is annoying, but for the rest of the grid, there's even more frustration to be pent up. They threw everything at it, waited for the track to be at its best, put all of their pace on the table, but they could not challenge him. Lolinober, what a lap. Absolutely interstellar.
I think what's incredible as well, Carl, we look at the number of different constructors inside that top 8. We've, in fact, I think got one of each, if I'm not mistaken, in the entirety of that top 8. Just goes to show the vastness of ability that we have here in between the drivers. Lolinober, though, top 55 thousandths of a second, and manages to enlist a cracking pole lap, and that could be crucial to his championship charge, especially when you consider Tim Marduk being out of the session for a grand period of time. Essentially certainly undoes any chance of him really getting the leg up on Lolinober in the initial going into the race. Let's run through your grid, folks, as we're looking at it at the end of quali. It's Lolinober on top. He takes pole position. Karim 70 in second place. Tim Marduk third. Then that guy Vince in fourth. Safso in fifth. Grid Jokes. Then Tukey. Then we have Alex Gillen, Adam Sanderson, Chappers in 11th place as well. No, Mango in 11th place. Chappers in 10th. Concept 7 in Fratic, also down in 13th. Meraki, Matt 212. Then Sparks, Brandon Miles, Scotty Designs, by the way, Ryan L83, and B-Roy down in 20th.
Wow, that was an interesting qualifying session. TK joins me on screen again. For a long time, that was looking quite dodgy for everybody, with Lolly holding that half a second advantage. But as he didn't improve on the final lap, others managed to take chunks of time out of him. Vince found half a second, Kareem found 4/10, but no one quite able to leapfrog the Italian Stallion. But Tim Marduk with a incredibly commendable effort right at the death as well.
Absolutely, and surely you've got to talk about the 1,000,001 things that was going through his head, because I'm fairly certain his stream died not once but twice during the course of that qualifying session. One thing I did want to bring your attention to, just very, very quickly here. Obviously, Vince did incredibly well on his final run, and this somewhat had a part to play in it. Meraki, who was down and out, he didn't feel he could go faster, but giving the most audacious of toes to Vince as they headed in towards that second sector, and certainly helped him secure what was second place at the time, albeit dropping down to 4th overall. But what a toe to give a good friend of yours down into the second sector.
It is. And Vince has traditionally this season been pretty strong over one lap, so maybe a bit of an underachievement for him to be in P4, considering we've seen him on pole position before. We've seen him take Inter's pole a couple of times, been on the front row quite consistently as well. So definitely somebody we need to watch out for. A couple of drivers I want to shout at as well. Tukey in P7, just over half a second back. And Mango in P11, by far his best qualifying of his Creator Series career. Two drivers that have very much gone under the radar, but significant improvements from both of them.
Absolutely, and gives them such a strong starting capability today, because of course, a little bit different from the status quo here in the Creator Series. They have to use each and every one of the tyres, and this is something that I was kind of wanting to talk about in the pre-show, as we want to call it. What do drivers start on? And George mentioned if you have that set of softs for a late safety car, but who's going to take that gamble? Because we know safety cars come in the Creator Series. We know they can come right at the last moments, maybe when certain people need them more than others. But do you take that gamble, or do you start on the softs, work with the theory that you can then get the mediums and the hards done later on, Or do you take the most massive of gambles and maybe pray the safety car does come out, or in the inverse, doesn't come out?
It's tricky because it depends as well how many soft tyres people use, because some will have 2 sets, some will only have the 1 set in their back pocket. If we remember back to Saudi Arabia season opener, Lolinova versus Razin, Lolly went for softs with a late race safety car, Razin went for mediums, and Raz was able to hunt him down past him and then pull 3 seconds in the final 4 or 5 laps. So maybe that's a telltale sign they're not too dissimilar circuit types. Also interesting looking at the top speed as well for Lolinova and Cream at the end of the back straight. Very similar as well, but Lolly with a slight advantage, 336 Ks for the Ferrari compared to 334 for Cream. That could be an interesting little bit of divergence from a setup point of view as well. I would personally be starting on the soft tyres. I would get them out of the way as soon as possible. The hards are the C1 that they're going to be using. They're not necessarily the quickest, but they are so durable.
I think you're absolutely right. I'd be starting on the softs, maybe taking an extra set if you're able to take a softer tyre allocation. Yes, it leaves you with a lesser set of the harder compounds. But obviously, we know how frequently safety cars come, both not only at the start, at the end of races, but so frequently at the start, especially at the Circuit of the Americas. I remember quite infamously Alex Heron from Coventry Corner finding his way into the barriers within the S's at the start of lap 1, or I think it might have been lap 3. So the safety cars do come out very quickly at COTA, especially through that S section when drivers are just starting to get up to speed, and then the weight transfer of the cars just unsettles them a little bit.
Tyre temp's going to be absolutely critical as well. First half of the lap, they're going to be skyrocketing significantly. Dirty air is a big factor. I'd be very surprised if we don't see the drivers pulling out of that turbulent weight to try and keep the engine temps down as much as they possibly can. It's not the easiest of circuits to overtake, so if you can keep that engine cooler, you're going to have that advantage in the power output, which will give you a big leg up on your opponents.
Absolutely right, and especially down that long back straight, as much as you want to try and stay in the slipstream of drivers behind, you are going to have to try and cool the engine somewhat. It does affect engine performance in this year's iteration of the F1 games, so as you want as much attacking power as you possibly can in that second sector, that is where you're going to really have to try and save as much of that heat in your engine essentially on the key overtaking opportunity on this circuit.
If we bring our 2 commentators back in, all 4 of us on the screen sharing now, George and Carl, from what we've seen, has it maybe changed your perception at all? George, we'll start with you. Lolly on pole at one stage looking very commanding.
He was. I must say, I think his gaps, I think we're around about 7 to 6/10, I think, at the peak of their prowess. Obviously, when things came, I suppose, to the more sensitive stage of qualifying, we then saw Tiamat Marduk arrive in. And I would argue that in those dying moments, we saw more character, I think, out of Tiamat Marduk, if I'm quite honest. I think on the basis of his disconnections, the issues, the streams going down, coming in with 3 minutes to go and setting a lap time that put him second fastest, all but briefly, was sensational. So I'll give him credit for that.
And Carl, very quickly, if we look at drivers maybe out of position, who's got not a lot to lose going into this, and maybe we'll just try and roll the dice?
2 words, Alex Gillen.
Perfect. That's all the words we need, everybody. The formation lap has kick-started. We're going to hand you back over for the 50-plus laps of the Circuit of the Americas with Carl Pranik and, once again, George Morgan.
Well, thank you, Tom. Welcome back, everybody, to COTA. It is time for the race to start. We're currently under the formation lap phase. Let us know your predictions in the live chat. That is what it's for. Please get involved. Let us know your thoughts. Who are you backing to win this COTA Extravaganza? Carl, I want to hear from you. What do you think is going to happen? What are you expecting? Strategies, talk to me. What would you do if you were in these guys' shoes?
This is quite interesting because I had one of 2 options that I would easily go for. The majority of which have picked my option number 1, which is use the soft tyres. If you know you're going to get a potential get-out-of-jail-free safety car, you know the softs have good pace, get them out of the way, and then you've just got the medium and hards to run. However, in the opposite corner, the compounds you have, as we see Mango there, repping the American flag, ever patriotic, but the hard tyres are 2 steps harder compound than the mediums, C4, C3, and C1, so it's in the best interest to get those hard tyres out of the way potentially. If that means hurting your race early on, you can then save those softer 2 compounds for those later safety cars and potential to extrapolate the pace later on. That actually could be quite a smart move, but they've got to deal with that pain early on. And could that be one bitter blow too many? I can't call it personally. I think, honestly, you've got 3 at the front that I think are a class above the rest in race pace, in terms of COTA perhaps. But you never know. It's too early to call, and with the tyre differential, all I say is bring it on.
Bring it on, indeed. I can tell you the live chat is kicking off. We've got Tim and Marduk being tipped by many fans tuning in the live chat. Liam Hare saying Tim at Marduk win. We've got Young Sheldon saying come on Tim at Marduk in the Twitch chat. Big thank you to all of you. B. Roy Laster versus Hoodie Pete. Lolinoba, also from Daniela. Is Ben streaming? Asked other people. Yes, they are. Come on, Ben, says Alfium as well. Get your comments in, everybody. We're all set and raring and ready to go ahead of this United States race. The formation lap now concluded. Our championship leader, Lolinoba, sits on pole position. Inter's pole against his name as well, looking to maximize his points tally this weekend. Let's see if he can do that, as now all the lights show up red. And they go out. It's pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Lolinoba with a great start. That guy Vince got the best start of anybody. Tim and Marduk, somehow, some way, dropping down through the field as Karim 7T, charging up the inside of Lolinoba through the turn 1 apex. They descend downhill. And Sapso, wheel to wheel now with the Mercedes of that guy Vince. Concept 7 and Tuki going at it. And Infratic losing out to Meraki as they peel through the S's. Still the battle for third place continues. Moving in the second now as well with Karim 70 in second, but it's that guy Vince who fends off Sapso. The Mercedes holds that third spot. Tim and Marduk languishing down in fifth.
I missed hearing that phrase at the beginning of the race. A brilliant battle between that guy Vince and Sapso. Already shipping that 1 second gap though, briefly to Lolly and Karim up ahead. They can ill afford to do that as down the inside goes Alex Gillen. Notorious battles await here in Kota. Drag race down towards the left-hander would be in Ben's best interest just to weather the storm early on, and yes, he concedes defeat for the time being. Those hard tyres are going to hurt. His teammate Adam Sarnason is down to P15. They are going to feel so much pain early on in this race as running rings round the outside goes Brandon Miles. If they can weather the storm early on though, it could all come back to them later on.
Well, Lolinoba still leads the way and he's managed to bridge the gap out to 0.6 of a second to Karim 17, who's actually gone purple inside that middle sector so far and is starting to edge back to the rear of Lolinoba, the Ferrari, who's had it all his own way so far, right through the course of qualifying. He just nets the fastest lap of the race. So keep it calm. We're now only on lap 2. Certainly more fastest laps to come. That guy Vince down in third place as well. Chappers F1 having a little look down the inside of Tim Marduk, knowing that he's on the soft compound of tyre, a better, faster tyre at this stage than the hard. So Tim Marduk gambling, essentially. Does this mean he's going to go for the late soft car?
It looks like it initially. If you want to get the two-step harder compound out of the way, then maybe now's the best time to do it. That all depends though. If there's not a safety car, if they can run those hards slightly longer, we shall soon see. We also are being told, of course, that Ben did win in Season 9 with a late safety car at his disposal. It has happened before, it could easily happen again. Look how much time he has shipped off to the top 5 though, nearly 2 seconds. Is the hard tyre Shodden runner, and Chappers, well, it's like nicking from the candy store. Easy move, sweet treat, marvellous creation from Chappers, adorned in the special Texas Williams livery, and Grid Jokes is going to follow suit as well.
Yeah, obviously the fall off of those hards in the initial stage is clear with Tim Marduk falling down the timing tower, and now others are coming through. Concept 7 around the outside in the Williams as well. Infratic also looking for a taste of an overtake in his own right as they come down through towards the next left. Infratic up the inside as well, and he moves up into 9th. Tim Marduk in absolute free fall as now we see Meraki storm around the outside, making his way through turn 17 and 18, and up he goes through to P10, and just a 10th of a second behind Fabio right now. Tim Marduk, surely he just needs to hang on, remain within DRS as long as possible until those initial soft runs die off.
And those two titans at the front, Lolly and Karim, have skyrocketed away. Scorching start from the pair of them. Karim has the fastest lap. Hunkering down into the DRS is the Aston Martin. This is where all the pain will be, though. Having to sit in the dirty air. You can see the wash of understeer already on lap number 3, hurting him through turn number 6. Set up these 2 corners though, use the curbs as much as you dare without getting track limits on the board. So early doors, this is the closest he's been so far. It should be an easy overtake, just got to set up the left-hander, flick the wheel in, get the traction on, keep it in the higher gear, blaze the battery, and it could be a move into the next corner.
Could well be. Karim 70, the former champion from Season 9, looking to Certainly scratched together an early blow against Lolin Ober, and indeed around the outside in the Aston Martin will now charge to the top of our timing tower here on lap 3 of 56. Lolin Ober now down into second, but will have the benefits of DRS when it becomes active. Of course, they got two options where DRS can be utilised out of turn 20 through towards turn 1, of course, down the home straight, but then also one of the longest straights you'll see on the F1 calendar, turn 11 in towards turn 12, that heavy braking zone where moves are fairly opportunistic but can indeed work. Tiamat Marduk losing DRS on Meraki, which now puts him at risk of Tukey in behind. We're running on board with Tukey right now in the McLaren, and he's 1.1 seconds ahead of Mango Slayer. So at the moment, both Tukey and Tiamat Marduk in relative no man's land, but just look at that. Benjamin Daly managed to crunch back in to that DRS window on Meraki, just saving up that little bit of battery to help his cause, help him along through the early stage of this race. Remember, Ben's pace will improve in the final two stints.
Couldn't agree more with you. You've also got Chappers at the head. You just a little bit. That is sparing the blushes of our Australian sensation as they head through the Estes section for the 4th time this race. I mean, the two at the front are a class of their own. Absolutely ridiculous. No real way through, though, in the quest for 3rd position for the likes of Safso, for Alex Gillen. You've sometimes just got to pull the move out of the bag, though. When you're stuck in this train, it's so easy to get in a slump. I know this from Mexico last season. It's so easy to get yourself in a psychological rut. Sometimes you just have to extract the spectacular out of the moves you make, as Tukey gets a very decent purchase into the left-hander, closing in on Tiamat Marduk all the while. No move made for Lolin Ober, no move made for Safso initially. Indeed, it's not, but Grid Jokes moves through into P6, deciding I'm head of the queue. I want to pull this train along.
Yeah, the one concern, I think, for those that have gone for the opposite compounded tyre, so I'm looking at the likes of Tiamat Marduk. I'm also looking at Adam Sanderson as well, and also Matt 212, who's currently routed down in 19th place for now, having similar issues to Benjamin Daly in the sense that he's on a slower compounded tyre than those on the softs. If Karim 70 and Lolin Ober keep breaking away from the field, if they start DRSing off each other down the several straights, start enlarging in that gap, it's already 3.5 seconds as we speak against that guy Vince right now. In fact, it's now down to 2.8, but still it stands. It's actually 3.4, I should say, between that guy Vince and Karim 70. If this continues to drag out, then Karim 70 and Lolin Ober could effectively decide this race in the first stint if there's no safety car. So they need to be wary of this, those on the hards. Do they then decide to go on the softs in the midway point of the stint, then move on to the mediums for the end? That's the big juggling act that they're going to have to make.
It really is. We have the same top 3 at the moment that we had in the Hungarian Grand Prix, albeit it was Lolly and Karim swapping hands with 1st and 2nd. Lolly ended up on the better end of that particular battle, that guy Vince, in a lonely P3 in the end. But those two were it was a war of Goliaths between Karim and Lolin Ober. Some of the best battling I have ever seen in Creator Series, as Tukey weaving out of the toe of Tiamat Marduk once again. Just a signal of intent, loom large in the mirrors again. He lurks ever so close to the back of the Red Bull car as we do have a change for the lead. Lolin Ober goes through. No real surprise, that's DRS assistance. Alex Gillen, though, bottleneck in behind. Of course, no real panic stations just yet, as that's Fabio, who was looking to make a double overtake on the Williams. I suspect must have blazed it wide at the left-hander, and now the two glories from Grove can go head-to-head. Chappers versus Concept 7 down the inside. The carrot was dangled by Concept 7. Chappers almost went for it. A bit of a half-hearted lunge in the end. No harm done. Williams 7th and 8th.
Feels like I'm watching Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve all over again. Of course, this time it's Concept 7 and Chappers deciphering who's going to take over 7th position. At the moment, it is Concept 7, who's currently now 2 seconds behind Grid Jokes. That battling actually dropping the two Williamses back and into the reach of Infratic, who ideally in his mind would like to get past because he doesn't want to necessarily become disconnected from those further up the order. Of course, Alex Gillen towing along Grid Jokes. He, of course, is closing up to the back of Safso, is Alex Gillen as well at the moment. That guy Vince leading our 2nd contingent. It's important to note, though, here, Carl, that guy Vince has actually reduced the gap. It's now back down to 2.8 seconds. It was enlarging for a brief spell, but that guy Vince starting to go to work here to try and bridge his gap back to Karim 70. It's going to be so hard for him to do because, like we've already said, Lolin Ober and Karim 70 do have the benefit of DRS off one another, whereas that guy Vince does not have anything of the sort. But so far, Grid Jokes stands out for me. Medium tyres, the only driver not on the softs inside the top 10. That gives him a huge advantage come the closing stages of the race.
Absolutely, and he's already flying, I'll be honest with you. He's already launched his way up to the back of the battle for P3 as again, Fabio goes to war with both the Williams team radio.
I'm just going to let him go. Maybe I should have lifted a bit, but... low-key, we should use this opportunity to save a little bit of fuel, chat, don't you think?
There you go. That solves the question then. Why Kareem and Lolly are starting to slow down. They have underfueled, we've been told, by over a lap in this race. So any chance they have to save fuel in this early stint, if it should be one of the more tame races, Adam Sanderson shipping a few positions. It's chaos from P14 down to P17. Swapping hands all the way through. Kareem on minus a lap and a half of fuel. So absolutely in his best interest to get some fuel saved and at the proper moment.
Well, this is where the cogs are turning here at the moment, at the end of the day, Carl, because, like I said, it's a juggling act with tyres, but equally, it's a juggling act with fuel, as now we see Tierman Marduk back again with Concept 7. It looks like there was some debris flying off one of the cars, and I think that was an end plate. I think it might have been off Concept 7's car, because he's now dropping back. Meraki's going to move on through. Into 10th goes the Haas, and now Tierman Marduk sits behind Infratic, and is starting to come to life, and Tukey's gone off as well. Oh my goodness, Tukey in the McLaren has gone off wide, and confirmation that Concept 7 does have damage. That end plate on that front wing has indeed been hit. So quite a bit of controversy making their way through the S's.
Yeah, Ben absolutely sent it into turn number 1. He was sizing it up on Meraki. I thought he was going to try and get 2 for the price of 1. Don't think that was his intention. But equally, just a day late and a dollar short, as the phrase goes, as Fabio does move past a Williams car, and this time with no qualms, no problems whatsoever, and through goes Tierman Marduk as well. I was going to mention at this point that the hards actually starting to hold a little bit of a flame to those once superior softs. Chappers all just dancing the rear tyres. That's the problem they're going to have. The limitation of the traction, the rear grip fading away from them throughout the stint. And the hards already, despite having that significant step in the hardness of the compound here at Kota, starting to find their feet a little.
Yeah, they are certainly finding their feet, those hard tyres, because now on the tail of Infratic, Tierman Marduk can start turning the screw here, and Fabio's got no DRS to defend himself. And the longer this carries on, the better it'll be for Benjamin Daly, who now already, with the rear wing open, is going to look to lift himself uphill. I think he's going to quite happily remain behind Fabio for now, because he knows that the best opportunity will be going down the long straight out of turn 11 in towards turn 12. I can only imagine he's going to bide his time here, Carl, and then look to make the move.
Absolutely right there. Speaking of someone else who's been biding their time, Adam Sanderson on those hard tyres as well. Both Red Bulls are on the rampage. A few places gained for Adam Sanderson as they just start to extract the advantage here on lap number 8 of this race. Still a long way to go, ladies and gentlemen. No need to ring the panic stations as Brandon Miles is out of this race.
Safety
Back
car.
at the S's section, and that will be a safety car on lap number 8.
Safety car. So now we may see the initial twist, the tyre compounds. Now, if you are Tierman Marduk and you are Adam Sanderson, basically anyone on the hard tyres, you probably don't want to pit yet. It might be too soon. You might choose to wait a little bit longer. But the question is, what do those on the soft tyres do, Carl?
That is the big question. I would say get off them. Use that get out of jail free card. Get another compound of tyre on. We saw how much pain those hard tyres went through, though. So it's a question of, do you want to get that pain out of the way in the middle stint? I think it would be in their best interest to do so, because if there is a later safety car, you can get back onto those softer compounds of tyres. It actually lends itself relatively well to the likes of both the Red Bulls. Anyone that started on those hard tyres, map 2-on-2 by extension, because they have that significant step in the hardness of the compound, they can now strap on the mediums and the softs all the way to the end as into the pits. No real surprise. Come in, 1, 2, that guy Vince, in fact, scrap it. The whole pit lane has erupted into life in an instant. The real question is, what tyres do they strap onto the wagon? Kareem and Lolly both go onto hard compound tyres. I think we'll see quite a lot of that.
And how about this? Also the hard runners coming in as well. Well, Tierman Marduk is anyway. He's coming into the pits, opting for a change of tyre, and he's going to go for a set of softs. So it is going to be a relatively early switch onto the softs for Benjamin Daly. That's a big call from the Red Bull team. We saw all those on the soft tyres come in. Grid Jokes on the mediums opted to stay out, which is kind of where I thought those on the hards might choose to operate. Ryan L83 also opted to stay out, but I think maybe they're looking at the track position perspective, I think, at this stage, Carl.
Well, well, well. It's all erupted into life. Mostly hard tyres. In fact, there's a whole smattering of strategies. Mango in awe of what he's just seen. I don't know what he's seen, but he's in awe, whatever the case, as he heads through Big Red. In terms of corner
He's seen
names...
a ghost.
Not uncommon in the house world, in the American dream. But Mango, through the SS section he goes, went through Big Red. As far as corner names go, I think that's probably one of the only ones on Kota. There's hardly any corner names. Of course, you've got characteristic sections, you've got the SS section, you've got the stadium section, but that is really about it. There's not much corner names that we can prize off in Commentary Corner, but the real story is Grid Jokes leads a race in the Creator Series. Hold the line caller. Grid Jokes leads, and I think we just stop the race there.
Stop the count, as they always say. Well, there we go. This is how things look, folks. Grid Jokes in P1. Lolinoba, though, right in arm's reach and has already changed onto a set of hard tyres, and we'll see how quick he is on that, should we say, not as quick a compound, but obviously I'd imagine that was a smart move anyway by Lolinoba to nullify any hope of those on the hard tyres that started on the hard tyres from encroaching on his territory at the top of the timing screen. In the meantime, we are going to encroach with TK. TK, what news can you bring?
Well, I'll tell you what, George, there's a lot that just happened in those last few minutes, and I'm here to try and keep you up to date with absolutely everything that just occurred during that safety car period. First and foremost, let's throw attention to Concept 7. He was the one that got a little bit of front wing damage, and this right here was the culprit where it happened. It was in towards Big Red, and just as they make their way, well, I was about to say make their way into the exit, but it wasn't really. It was a brave dive by Ben, a Ben special, if you will. Unfortunately, that front wing went flying, and he loses a little bit of carbon fibre. Next on the docket, it is Concept 7 once again, but you're going to have to watch a slightly different angle. This is where Tukey spun. Unfortunately, we don't quite have that from his point of view, so there's the damage once again. Keep an eye on his red arrow to the bottom left of your screens. That's Tukey as he comes across to this left-hander. Here, he taps Tukey, and down the order he drops. And that is what happened to the second McLaren as he gets the warning for the contact as well. A rather unfortunate one for Tukey there. It was just a slightest bit of contact that just didn't end his race. He's managed to keep it at least pointing in the right direction. I'm sure there'll be a few stern words said about leaving some space on the apex. And finally, Brandon Miles, our first retiree from the race. It had to be a kick Sauber, didn't it? I remember Alex Heron was driving this highlighter not too long ago when he DNF'd here in Kota. But as we make our way through, the S's just watch the rear end step out. Nothing he can do about it. And into his good old friend Barrier he goes. Mr. Paranik has provided us with Tukey's point of view, because unfortunately you have to follow to watch his clips. But here we go, Carl. Thank you very much. I love you. I'll owe you one for this one. Let's see what indeed happens to Tukey. I think it's going to be a fairly self-explanatory moment. He's alongside here with Concept 7. And again, into that left-hander, he's barely alongside. Little bit of a tap, and around he goes. Very, very lucky not to DNF on that barrier that just juts out from the metalwork on the left-hand side.
Well, stellar stuff. Thank you so much, TK, for that insight. I think, Carl, looking at that, the blame has got to be with Tukey on that one, right? Barely alongside, making your way through the S's. You can't really make the move there.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't make much of an impression or much of an intent to really signify the overtake. But regardless, I mean, you know, you win some, you lose some at the end of the day. There's still a long way in this race to go. It's learnings that he will take. There's still 46 tours of Kota to go, and he's on those hard tyres. He's got the damage fixed, and he's back into this race. So not all hope is lost by any means as we head round for yet one more lap of reconnaissance. Tukey going for the Sonny Hayes strategy of just having the warmest tyres of anybody. I like it, and I approve of it as he just catches up to the back of the train. Keep an eye out for the likes of, I would say, Fabio and Tiamat Marduk, because they have the mediums and the softs on. While Fabio didn't strap on the hards, it was Ben that did. Ben can just put softs and mediums on for the rest of this race. It's the reverse fixture. While Ben had the hards and the majority had the softs, it's now the reversed game. So now Ben has that advantage, and we're going to see probably a very cutthroat charge from the Australian.
And no major gaps in between the cars either. Everyone should have DRS when the safety car comes back in, because the grid has been basically reformed. Not necessarily from the starting grid as such, but Lolinoba and Karim still sit inside the top three. That guy Vince, who will now have an opportunity to remain close. He's also on the same tyres as Lolanoba and Karim as well. So that gives him as much of a chance to stay in tow as anybody else. But so far, the Red Bulls looking well positioned. Adam Sanderson, though, this time ahead of Tim Marduk after the pit stop phase. Obviously, Benjamin Daly had his own action-packed soiree coming through the S section. I must say, it did look like quite the overzealous overtake on his part, trying to breeze past the Williams. And unfortunately, it led to some debris flying across the circuit, but no harm, no foul nonetheless at this point, with only Brandon Miles being out of the race for now. Please do not forget, if you tuned in on Twitch, folks, to leave a follow. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel. Stay up to date with everything Creator Series, as now the formation, shall I say, the safety car comes to an end now, and it will be Grid Jokes who will be leading them off around the final corners here at COTA. We're on lap 11 of 56. Be sure to leave your feedback in the live chats. We want to hear from you. Get involved. Question is, how long can Grid Jokes hang on to this lead up at the front? Remember, he has 10 lap-old medium tyres strapped to his car. Lolanoba's got fresher hard tyres right now. Only 2 laps, and they were both done under the safety car. The flags do indeed go green, and Grid Jokes now putting his foot back to the floor. The pace starts to quicken, and as they round turn 20 and about to cross the start-finish line, they're going to put pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now, and it will be Grid Jokes who leads them up through towards turn 1. Lolinova trying to close the gap, and now further back, Safso and Duck Guy Vince together. Alex Gillen also charging up the inside. That was a bold move, and it looks like the switchback has come back into play for Safso, and Vint is back in his pocket, and Tim Marduk pouncing on his own teammate Adam Sanderson, and he's up into 8th.
Yes, synchronised wideness from both Alex Gillen and Adam Sanderson into turn number 1. That allowed the re-inheriting for Safso and the inheriting for Fabio and Ben for P7 and 8 respectively. Now they can get to work on chasing down those harder runners. Look how much grip Ben has now. He's going to feel like he's on 7th heaven, quite frankly, with how much grip he has on those soft tyres. He had to weather the storm early on, but it's all been to reap the rewards for this moment. Chappers going through on Meraki, the Williams up into P10. We absolutely love to see it, although Meraki fighting back at the American Dream's hometown. No way you're going to displace him that easily. What does Fabio do? He's launched it down the inside on those medium compound tyres. They've got grip, they've got confidence. Alex is still there for the moment, though. Still side by side, a sensational slobber knocker into the stadium section. Surely they have to give this one up, as you see Ben boxed into all of this. Safso also being caught up. This is amazing, George.
Truly an outright scrap over 4 cars that are currently duking it out over 5th place. Gillen trying to wrestle himself around the outside. Safso not giving an inch.
Right, we're going to carve through the field. We're going to try our absolute best to just do something crazy. Or we're going to die.
Well, talk crazy. I think we're seeing insanity right now on the run up through towards turn 1. 3 wide, straight away for the represent now Cascade over the crest. Once again, Alex Gillen, Tim Marduk also in the mix. Safso thrown in as well as they creep through. It looks like Benjamin Daly has managed to creep up into 5th. Safso down in 6th, breaking back out of Alex Gillen, who has been a thorn in the side with him being on those hard compounded tyres. Holding up those in behind as well. Really trying to twist and turn and break past the Alpine, and may get his chance on the run down to the heavy braking zone, heading into the long straight where DRS will be applied again. Meraki up the inside once more, side by side with Alex Gillen. Meraki squeezes him to the outside curve, and wheel to wheel they'll stay all the way down, unless Meraki can pull it off, and he can.
Great stuff from Meraki. We'll see the philosophy of setups potentially, or whether how willing they are to make those moves happen. Safso has to concede 1, 2 overtakes as Kareem 17 and Lolinova have both got through on Grid Jokes. They're trying to escape as quickly as possible. Ben all over the back of that guy Vince. In fact, there he is in the background, down the inside. A clean move from the Australian sensation with the softer compound of tyres. It was academic and it was inevitable. Next target is Grid Jokes. on those older medium tyres. Oh, well, Scotty said about doing something crazy. I thought Ben did something crazy into that last corner. You can see how much more confidence he has, but he just scythed it down the inside once again. Alex Gillen on the worst side of the party, but now with DRS, Gridjoke's already saving the battery. Ben with not much either, but you can't stop him. He's infallible on the softs. The Red Bull dances on through. That's a podium place for the taking on lap 14.
That is a truly stunning effort from Tiamat Marduk to climb and pull his way higher up the timing tower. He is now third and chasing down Karim 7T, and he's going to make short work of these two in front because, of course, they're on the hard tyres. He's on the same lap life but soft tyres with 5 applied against his name, but now hurtling onto the back of the Aston Martin. The two-time Creator Series Drivers' Champion will now face off against a budding champion in Lolin Ober, but also Karim 7T, who won his sole championship back in Season 9. They're now stretched down through towards every braking zone at the end of the straight. Of course, DRS will be available for Karim. Lolin Ober, though, with enough of a gap, I think, just to fend them off for the time being, but it might make sense for the two that currently lead this race to potentially work together to undo Benjamin Daly's soft tyre strategy. I think that's the only way they can work it.
I agree. He can only unravel him so much. You know how bold and brave he is, and there he is down the inside once again from absolutely downtown. Tiamat Marduk alongside Karim 17. The battle rages on though. Can he hold it all the way round the outside? 1, 2, 3 apexes. The triple threat to set up the inside for the penultimate corner. It's a phenomenal move from Tiamat Marduk once again as he scythes through his opposition exactly what he needs to do to make the most of the tyres. Lolly breaking the toe. It's almost certainly inevitable for the man chasing him in the championship.
28 points coming into the race is the gap. Your top two in the championship now stand 1 and 2 for the first time here in this Kota extravaganza. Lolin Ober, 4.5 tenths the difference. It's now coming down all the time with the soft tyres burning away under the Red Bull chassis as they now fly through the S-bends now and over the crest as they now look to peel through turns 8, 9 and later turns 10. The Ferrari looking to stand tall against its Red Bull opposer. Karim has already been taken down over third. It is still very early though in the day as they come through towards turn 11 this time. DRS will surely be in the pocket here of Tiamat Marduk. He's going to look to send a message here in the initial to at least suggest to Lolin Ober that this is not going to be the Lolly show as now he looks to the outside. Benjamin Daly going long and will indeed get the move done prior to the apex. Benjamin Daly leads here at Kota.
Never in doubt for the man that won his home race in Australia last time out. Riding the crest of a wave, surfs his way on through to the top step provisionally. Oh, still extremely early days. We can't emphasize that enough. This is exactly what we were expecting to see though. The differentiation in strategies, the execution in the way that you use all of the dry compound tyres. Middle stint, loads of soft runners went for the hards. Ben's gone for the opposite, taken the pain early on. It's paying off at the moment. Next mission is try as he might. Try and break that DRS.
Yeah, it's got to be the mission. He's got to make use of these soft tyres, but with the lack of DRS, it's going to go the way of Lolin Ober in that. From that context, if Lolin Ober can just hang on, it'll make a big difference for the Italian, who's chasing for his first world title, his first driver's title here in the Creator Series. Of course, we've got 3 rounds to go until the end of the season. We've got a sprint race, incidentally, coming up at Brazil as well, the final round of the championship. But we could be in for a blockbuster should anything happen to Lolin Ober and the gap condense or constrict so much come the end of this United States race. Then we could be seeing a very tight contest going into Japan in our next outing, as that Karim has another look this time on Lolin Ober. And that's certainly a complication that the Italian won't fancy, as now Karim gets right into his toe here. 2 of them sharing DRS because, of course, it's Tiamat Marduk who leads the race as they now charge down through towards the apex. Lolin Ober going around the outside looking for a move on Benjamin Daly. Could not quite find it. Benjamin positioning the car in all the right places as now Lolin Ober looks to the inside again, trying to break down the Aussie, but it's easier said than done, and the soft tyres keeping Benjamin alive here on lap 16.
Could be a master of the dark arts being played in defence by Tiamat Marduk. He could get away. I'm pretty confident he could just coast away with the soft tyres that he has. But he's just holding back a little bit, particularly in Sector 1, I thought. He was just a little bit slovenly out of the exits, but he's backing up the pack a little bit, giving Lolly that extra dirty air from following too close. That's what's inviting Kareem 17 and others behind to try and make the moves as well. It's tactical, it's bold, it's brave. Lolly trying to be bold and brave and try and hold up a candle to that by just showing the nose. No move really on that occasion, just to show him he's there. But Meraki's here to spoil these juice party ahead as well.
Yeah, of course, he's also rampant on the medium tyre. Incidentally, not the only one on the medium tyre inside the top 10 either, because the McLaren of Infratic is doing the same, but he's just under 2 seconds down on that guy Vince. But Meraki knows how to win championships. He was in contest with Benjamin Daly, as we mentioned prior, back in Season 4. Incidentally, it was only one win from Meraki that took him to the championship that season. And of course, we all look back to that Spa-Francorchamps race, ever controversial. That those two, certainly both of them, were nip and tuck with one another. Contact all the way up to Les Combes. So we watch them make their way down through towards every braking zone again, locking up those left-handed tyres. Certainly left-handed as far as he's concerned, Tim Marduk, but still staying alive right now. Karim hot on the heels of Lolinober as well. Meraki might choose to send a move up the inside, and certainly will do in the Haas. In their home race, of course, the Haas F1 team. As he now charges around the outside, he's going to try and take on the series of 3 corners to try and masterclass his way up into 3rd place on the medium compound of tyre. And through goes Meraki into the top 3. Karim down in 4th.
Seen this script before, it's an absolute classic, and Meraki's repeated the feat. He's only got one car now between himself and P2, which would be delightful news. There's a V-carb off an RB, it's B-Roy, who's gone round at the triple right-hander. No harm done, no physical damage, just emotional. But Lolly looking to go on the attack, round the outside, and possibly some more defensive dark arts being played to just try and back up the Italian stallion a little bit, invite Meraki in to make that move. And, well, some of you might not like it, but that is the difference between a championship-winning performance and just a race-winning performance. To know the margins that you're dealing with, to know how to extract the most points out of any particular race. It's only lap 18, and the games are well and truly on.
Well, I can tell you this is certainly a blockbuster. I'm putting this up as absolute cinema here in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. Let us know in the live chat if you feel the same way, because I certainly do. Tim Marduk leads the way, but for how much longer? Because Lolinober is in probably his most idyllic position he has been in since Benjamin took the lead of the race, and indeed a nose of the Ferrari in front, but Ben leaving it late on the apex at turn 12 as they now fly through. Now the better line on offer here for Lolinober, the Italian looking to feather his throttle once again. Benjamin just trying to linger in. Benjamin Daly up the inside once more, denying Lolinober, but he gets the switch back as now they take on the series of 3 corners. 16, 17, 18, the Ferrari going around the outside. Lolinober back in front, back in control here at the United States Grand Prix circuit, here at the Americas. What an astonishing display that these two are pulling off together.
That's how you do it as a championship leader. Masterclass manoeuvre from Lolinober on the hard compound tyres. They will be starting to find their feet more and more, of course. DRS, inside line. Tim Marduk is absolutely going to send the nose. Not looking to properly commit, though. Just compromise the Ferrari enough. Keep P2 on the road. Just let him know he's there. Get inside his head a little bit. He talked earlier in the season, very early on, in fact, it might well have been that coveted round number 1 in Saudi Arabia, about reputation. The fact he knows he's got a reputation, the fact that it might play a part in terms of some of the mistakes that drivers make. And could we be seeing that on display? But look at Lolinober. He's absolutely bolted to 7/10 the gap. What a first sector.
And also using some of the battery, I'd imagine, at the same time. There is a warning against Lolinober's name at the moment. 2 more, and there could be a penalty heading his way. Now, we do have 4 drivers with penalties against their name so far, most notably to B-Roy, who's got 6 seconds of penalties, and we got 3 also for Mango Slayer as well. As now they charge down to the apex of the corner now. Tim Marduk back ahead of Lolinober, but just, and now back again, toing and froing as they make their way through that middle sector, through the rights, through the lefts, through the loops. Lolinober now with the nose in front once more, but Benjamin Daly sending his Red Bull long and wide around the outside. Might have left himself a little bit vulnerable to Meraki as well, but it's somehow managed to stay in front. It's Lolinober back into the lead of the race. Meraki trying a switchback, and it's going to try A really extraordinary move around the outside. He sent Benjamin Daly just slightly wide there. Meraki sending mixed signals here to Benjamin Daly, and I think it's catching the Aussie off guard.
It really is. I thought I was watching the telemetry like a hawk to see if Ben got a warning from that. Did get away with it though. Still remains very much in the hunt as wide goes Meraki into turn number 1. Perhaps not expecting the closing speed. For Ryan L83, it's devastation. A 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So horrible, horrible news for the Alpine driver. Grid Joke still on those old mediums. I mean, my goodness me, as we have a replay here, this is of the V-carb, that is of B-Roy through the triple right-hander. Those rear tyres complain as soon as you get on the outside, and it was an inevitability. The car swaps around, and of course, no physical damage on the RB car. He carries on in P19.
Yeah, it's a real tough time for B-Roy at the moment. Obviously now languishing down in 19th place. The penalties also against his name. He has since moved on to a hard compound of tyre, obviously feeling that he'll need to try to go to the end. He has used all 3 compounds at the very least, and a few drivers already have done as well, Tuki being one of them at the same time. We also have seen, where else? Who else has used all 3 compounds? Matt 212 has. His Grid Jokes goes and sends in the ultimate send on that guy Vince. Licked the stamp and well and truly sent it, but that guy Vince determined to return it. And in fact, does actually move back into 5th place. And now we see in Pratic looking to charge around the outside, taking advantage of the huge fracas that we're seeing in this middle sector. And the McLaren now up the inside once again, coming through the trio of corners. And in Pratic now up into 6th place. Lovely move from Fabio.
Yeah, great stuff. P6 for the McLaren Maestro. That guy Vince looms large up ahead. Well, Alex Gillen was thinking about sizing up on Grid Jokes. Didn't need to, because into the pit lane for their first stop of the race comes the lean green machine. Up at the front, it's still Lolly, followed by Ben, followed by Meraki, Kareem 17. That is your top 4, and they are clear from DRS, from that guy Vince, who's got in Pratic, and Alex Gillen for company. Where does Grid Jokes emerge? Of course, it will most definitely be P15, maybe even P16 on the road, on what will be a fresh set of the hard compound tyres. Still got to use those softs, of course, not out of the woods just yet, but getting the paint out of the way of those hard tyres, although, as we've seen, the hards don't actually seem to be too bad.
No, they're actually performing really well. Karim 7T still remains within, should we say, touching distance to a certain degree. Obviously, Meraki is in front of him at the moment, but so far so good for Karim. Like, he'll come in later on, I'm sure, in this stint. Lolinoba in much the same way too, and the gap enlarging between Lolinoba and Tim Marduk now. In fact, over the last lap, Lolinoba was slightly quicker, albeit, of course, he may have had a little bit of DRS down the straight. But in Pratic, now dodging and weaving, moving ahead of that guy Vince. So in Pratic, also coming to the fore as well, and he's on 12-lap old medium tyres. So again, better tyres than the softs. At the same time, also potentially better than the hards at this particular stage right now. So things going well for the McLaren as Tiamat Marduk now drops off, and he's outside of DRS and now at the mercy of Meraki this time. So the game has ultimately changed, and Jake might fancy his chances here, and Tiamat Marduk was sideways coming through the penultimate corner.
It is a suboptimal strategy, but ultimately the one he has had to taken, because the tyres are complaining all the way through. Doubt Ben will fight this very hard, and the answer is no, he does not. Meraki released into P2 here on lap number 22. No dive down the inside because Kareem 70 has also picked the pocket of the Red Bull driver. Opportunistic from the Aston Martin. Ben just having no fight at all in those soft tyres. That's after 13 laps on the soft compound. They've given up the ghost in comparison to those mediums and those hards. So how do you play this for the rest of the race then? Of course, depending on tyre allocation, Ben will have 2 sets of those medium compound tyres, and that will do him a lot of good if those softs just haven't reaped the rewards.
Probably the most ideal tyre to have in this instance as well is the medium, because he will have still some time to eat away at some of the laps with the softs. It doesn't necessarily suggest that Ben's out of this race, because of course, remember, everyone else also inside the top 10 needs to change onto their 3rd tyre. Lolinoba, he'll have a set of mediums as well for the end. Karim 17 will also be on the mediums. If you are Meraki, however, you'll be moving on to the hards. So Meraki arguably at a disadvantage going into the final stint of the race if there is no safety car.
That is quite right. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, isn't it? You're either a hero or a zero. That all depends on how luck plays itself into your hands, or maybe doesn't play itself into your hands. Kareem moved forward into P2, now can set about catching up to Lolinoba. Crosshairs firmly locked on the man that won the Hungarian Grand Prix, the man that has won another race in the form of Zandvoort as well. He likes it in multiples of 3. 1 round number 3, 1 round number 6. He's trying to break the duck here in the United States, but it's easier said than done. Onto lap number 23, Meraki gets ever so close as that guy Vince and Fabio go back into combat. Fabio did have the ascendancy. Vince not done yet though. They'll run side by side into the S's.
Yeah, Fabio with the slightly better line has managed to hold on to 5th place. Alex Gillen watching the whole party unfold as we ride on board with the Alpine at the moment. Of course, another 2-time champion in Alex Gillen, who last won a championship back in season 10. 5 wins took him to the top of the championship with 7 podiums as well. Didn't score a single pole position through the course of that one, but that's not necessarily a unique factor because Tiamat Marduk did exactly the same in season 8, taking 4 wins, 9 podiums, but no pole positions, which again suggests that whilst of course it's great to get pole position, with the way the wildcard system works and indeed how the strategies sometimes work, you can nullify pole position in an instant as now that guy Vince charges up the inside and back into 5th place against him. Fratic holds position as well. Here comes Gillen around the outside too, trying to pounce on Fabio's P6 position. He's going to try and hang it around the outside, can't quite do it, but he's going to leave it late down the inside as Fabio tried to cover him off, not by enough, and the Alpine now with a run around the outside. Fabio has the better line though, as they now go wheel to wheel. Coming through now, out of turn 17 and 18. They're going to run wheel to wheel again through the final few corners here around the Circuit of the Americas track, and Fabio goes off, and that guy bids, still remaining in 5th. Gillen has dropped down to 8th because Zasso has peeked his head into P7.
Just a bit too close for comfort between those two. Alex actually played it really smart, just held on, held his nerve, held his right front to the rear quarter of the McLaren, and just was able to make sure Fabio compromised his line, didn't have it all his own way. Safso nabbing the position though, excellent work from our resident PS1 Hagrid up into P7. He's well and truly been in the fight. I've seen so many times he gets so down on himself on race results and how his race is going. Today is a different story. He is on it in P7. He's got Fabio in his crosshairs. He's spoiling for the fight today.
Yeah, very well moved by Safso, and probably a smart play to a certain degree. Certainly, you know, counteracting Alex Gillen's slowdown, thinking, oh no you don't, I'll have the position. And indeed now in 7th place, we're looking to chase down after Infratic. Half a second between those two drivers. Gillen now 3/10 behind Safso. Chappers in the distance, 2.5 seconds as they head down through towards the heavy braking zone at the end of the long straight. It's now 1.4 seconds though between Lolinoba and Karim, and bear in mind they're on the same tyre compound, so that's quite a key factoid there, Carl. 1.5 seconds between them, and they're both on the same aged hard tyres, and Meraki is still there. He could cause a real stir against Karim right now.
Really could. Scotty Designs, by the way, with a 3-second time penalty. Not ideal whatsoever on those newer hard compound tyres as we ride on board with Adam Sanderson. Still on those old hard compound tyres and still holding on to those on newer tyres, on the newer medium specifically. He's looking for a move on Mat 212 potentially. That would have been brave and ballsy. Decided not to call the bluff of the Mercedes driver in the end. Tukey looking to spoil the party. Adam keeps in P12. The battle for P5 has just leveled off slightly though because Safso overcooks the braking point. Through goes the McLaren of Infratic. Through goes Alex Gillen almost.
The fact that we are still not with the leaders blows my mind.
Well, Infratic, I think, feeling the pain, obviously expecting with them being on the hard tyres right at the front. He can't believe that he's so far back, but I think it's down not just to the tyres, I think just to the infighting that we're seeing in this top 10 at the moment, Carl.
Exactly. I mean, through goes Safso once again. Fabio might be in disbelief, but that's the reason why. The compromise you have, the ebb and flow of the battle is exactly why they haven't been able to catch up to the leaders. Rather interestingly, though, might be on the same age hard compound tyres. Karim is knocking dangerously on the door of DRS. And wow, down the inside, my goodness me, Fabio with an almightily late lunge and manages to keep it on the track. Safso cuts across to squeeze the line of the McLaren as much as possible. Can he hold it in that P6 place? The answer is yes, he does for now. Fabio remains there at the very last moment. Gillen is there once again. We've seen this one before. Run it back. In this case, it's much more anticlimactic. 3-second time penalty for Concept 7. And at the very front of the field, DRS is happening all over again.
Yeah, 30 laps to take us to the very end of this race. Karim 70 back to within DRS of Lolinoba, so the battle for the lead is kicking back together. Meraki has been dropped 2.8 seconds now between second and third inside this timer and the classification. Tim Marduk, if anything, edging closer to Meraki, so I'm wondering whether Jake made a mistake somewhere. And Benjamin Daly able to now get himself back in close proximity. Still fastest lap in the pocket of the Aussie right now. Benjamin Daly with a 1:35.635. No one else has managed to get even close to that number just yet. Incidentally, I think he's actually the only driver to register a 1:35 in this race today, and it's a good 1:35 as well, 1:35.6, as now we watch them make their way downhill as well. Adam Sanderson in the pits is now making his way out on his outlap at the same time. He's just moved on to a fresh set of soft tyres after a 25-lap stint on the hards as well, Carl.
And commendably actually kept up with the likes of Concept, of Tukey, who are on those newer tyres. Despite having the age-old hards that he was on, now can go onto those new softs and get a tremendous undercut on them. Would all go up in the air
If there was a safety car, if you know what I mean.
But Adam Sanderson, with strategy in his corner. Concept's gone through on Matt 212. Alex Gillen is sizing up Safso once again to try and make something happen. Of course, had his pocket picked when he let Fabio through after that slight skirmish a couple of laps prior, but now has a chance to get himself into P6.
Well, I mean, Adam's given himself, you know, some big major cards to play, I think, here towards the end of this race. There's definitely a possibility for points as now his teammate Tim Marduk comes into the pits. Now I can only imagine this is going to be a move onto the medium compound of tyre, and it certainly is. That will mean he has now completed all 3 tyres here today for the race to comply with the rule set we have. Lolinoba and Karim crucially enough staying out, so this is Tim Marduk getting the undercut here in a bid to close the gap to the 2 runners on the hard. So surely Lolinoba and Karim have to respond this lap.
Well, a gambit launched by Tiamat Marduk, ladies and gentlemen, who is just a whisker away from the train for P9. Of course, has significantly newer tyres. Well, it's up to Meraki to see what on earth he will do. I suspect will stay out on those mediums for just a little bit longer, although the only tyre he has left is the hards. No reason why he couldn't peel into the pits and see them potentially out for the rest of the race if there isn't
A safety car, if you know what I mean.
Karim gets closer and closer to Lolinoba. I suspect fuel saving once again. Might need confirmation on that. I'm just looking at the top right of his steering wheel to see if that is a red tin or a green tin adorning the green machine in terms of the fuel surplus, or indeed lack of, for that matter, as we head into the fulcrum point of this race. And it all gets even more interesting now. Another 3-second time penalty reigns in, but I'm expecting overtakes to reign in from the man in P14.
Yeah, no question, and already pulling them together, and crucially enough, Lolinoba and Karim staying out. Now, bear in mind, they've also got to move on to medium tyres in due time, so it's in the interest of Tim Marduk here to really go to work and punch in the lap times, because he will be on a faster compound, and I can tell you he is, Carl. He was purple in that middle sector at 37.3. He is putting the work in place here, is Benjamin Daly, and already on the tail of Sparks this time, having already made the move on Grid Jokes. Now our champion of 2 seasons in the Creator Series is going to work. Tim Marduk side by side with Sparks and moves into 12th now. And after closing out that final sector to 32.020, 153. Now for an outlap, that's not too bad.
He's 1.2 seconds faster in the middle sector on his outlap. This is scary pace that he's going to have. But could this be even more bold? He's used all his tyres, of course. He's used the hards, the softs, and the mediums. As he goes down the inside of Tukey, you don't see many overtakes there. Unorthodox moves on display. And that's exactly what you can do when you have that much more potential in the tyres underneath you. But could he be going for another stop, maybe? To just launches again down the inside, faster than we can count. Matt 212 will have the superior line out of the corner, but the traction will help out the Australian ace, and so will that DRS. He's going to pick off 1, 2, make that 3 cars. So nice, get ready, he's doing it thrice. Round the outside, Matt 212 to the inside of the Williams driver to also try and find a psychological advantage. Not going to happen. Concept remains in P10, but Ben is on the rampage.
And now he has clean air. Karim, 70 and Lolinoba remain out on track. Do they know what Benjamin Daly has done? Are they aware that he has made his pit stop? I'm not quite sure. This could be the mother of all undercuts here for Benjamin Daly. 20.6 off the top at the moment. Still work to be done, but putting the groundwork in place. Still with the fastest lap against his name, but that was not on this stint. And we'll see now as he ventures onwards. It is the fastest lap of the race on this stint. And bear in mind, he had to overtake traffic to achieve that. A 1:35.420, 2 laps done on the medium compound of tyre for his final stint, we believe, unless there's a safety car. But now starting to really close up on the 6 cars in front as more and more cars peel into the pits. Chapper's in for a change as well.
And watch that interval gap. 4 tenths already gained through the first sector. Make that half a second. That time will exponentially fall. That was a fastest lap with the compromise of having to overtake significant amounts of traffic. I believe that corner cut there was his first warning of the entire race. Just look, a hair's breadth over the white line. It's not much, but it is enough to garner up that warning. As through the left-hander he goes. Again, chomps another 2, maybe 3 tenths out of that lead gap. It was only 3 tenths faster through the first sector, but it is that last sector in particular that we'll be keeping a close and very keen eye on for the Australian, as peeling to the inside is Matt 212 to try and break any form of toe. Concept's just going to slalom round the outside. Delightful move from the Williams driver. About half a second quicker than race leader Kareem 70 in the middle sector was Tiamat Marduk. Matt 212's not done yet though. We've seen this one before. Concept just holds the line of that Williams, but then goes wide at the left-hander. Matt 212 will be on the blower. We can't do anything about that. I do apologise. You're going to have to do it yourself. So he just makes an absolutely spectacular move round the outside, and that's one way to reply.
That is a stunning way to reply. Tiamat Marduk's just gone purple in the final sector to register yet another fastest lap of the race. He is putting the groundwork, like we said, in place, and it's going like clockwork. It's now 18.8 seconds from the top against Kareem 70 at the moment, as Grid Jokes has a look down the inside now on Concept 7. Into 9th he goes. Very nearly took Matt 212 as well if he had a little bit more leverage. But Grid Jokes, it's no laughing matter because he's into 9th place and now chasing down Matt 212, who has got a penalty against his name. So if they cross the line as they are right now, Grid Jokes will take that P8 nonetheless. But he's got to be careful. He's got 2 warnings, 1 more, and it could well be a penalty.
Well, Grid Jokes is on fire, and your defence is terrified on lap number 30. Lead 2 in a class of their own. Once again, 5 seconds as well as Matt 212 dropping back, losing a place not only to Grid Jokes, but Concept as well, potentially. Again, more argy-bargy. It's another yellow flag. It's B-Roy round once again, but he carries on his merry way. Down the straight we go. DRS galore. Maximum flappage on lap number 30. Matt 212 not going to get close enough to Grid Jokes. His Concept thinking about making the move with the worst camera angle I've seen in my life. But Concept now, with the exterior view at his disposal, can't quite make it happen. Grid Jokes on those newer hard tyres, just escaping away for the moment. Gap between Ben and Safso has just been chomped by another second.
Yeah, I can imagine Concept 7's going to want to come in ASAP. 21 laps on those medium tyres. I think they're now feeling the pinch, as is Matt 212 perhaps on his 20 lap old medium tyres. How long before they make that decision to come in and box for a fresh set? And I think Matt 212 has opted for the pits, just as I say it. So in comes the Mercedes. No surprises to see him come in. And he will be looking to change onto a fresh set of tyres. Now, he's already had a soft tyre run already, so he's got a choice. He can pick whichever he likes. He's gone back on the hards. No surprises there, I suppose, because there wouldn't be enough life even in a brand new soft tyre set to get him to the end of the race. So surely that is the final stop for Matt 212. It does mean he's going to plummet, as Ryan L83 with a little tail flick making his way around the final corner. But there we have it. Lolinoba now moving ahead of Kareem 70 as they once again duke over the lead. Bear in mind, their last lap, 1:37.4. That's Lolinoba's last lap. Tiamat Marduk's just gone purple again inside the first sector. I can tell you he's lapping at approximately 1.7 seconds a lap quicker than the 2 drivers in front. In fact, he's 2 seconds faster than Kareem in second place.
Well, it's scary pace. Purple first sector. What more can you ask for at the moment from Tiamat Marduk? What we don't know, of course, because he isn't streaming as far as I can tell, what we don't know is how much fuel he has. That's always a point of conversation, and we don't have it. So we have no idea if Ben is still 2 laps down on fuel, hence why he's got even more pace in the tank, or whether he's actually in a good spot. As for these two, though, still they go, and Baraki has bailed, peeled into the pit lane. It will be hard tyres all the way to the end, so that is tyre set complete for our reservist, our Season 11 champion, into the pits, hard compound tyres, as Ben sets yet another fastest lap, and it's 2 seconds again, quicker than the race leader. He's absolutely flying out there.
I make it 2.2 seconds, in fact. An incredible run from Tim Marduk over the course of that last lap, and I don't think he's going to stop there either. Incredible stuff. I think we're going to throw it over to TK, because he has some news for us.
Oh, I tell you what, I wasn't expecting this one. I thought it was just going to be a little nice radio blast. But I can give you some information on it is B-Roy once again. Just his little spin, we saw a very similar one earlier on in the race. This time, however, he was under pressure from our very own Scotty Designs, by the way. You can see he just runs a little bit wide through that triple right-hander. And little spoiler alert, that paint's kind of slippery, as B-Roy find out in the worst possible way.
Poor B-Roy. He's had a tough day at the office, but we do love having him back in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. Good to see you, B-Roy, and really giving us all a smile, it has to be said. Down in 19th, and it's good to see a smile on his face as well. We always like having our cheeky American back on our screens. But yes, of course, the race, as we're witnessing, is unfolding. Lolinoba half a second ahead of Karim at the moment. These two have been at loggerheads all race long, pretty much. And now we're coming into the final 24 laps of asking here at COTA. Lolinoba out in front, your championship leader, 28-point gap coming into this race after qualifying. Karim 70, who is down in 4th in the championship as far as Aston Martin are concerned, looking to get closer to Rasin Chai's points tally. And in fact, I would imagine he'll sleuth into P3 in the championship in due course. And we are getting word that apparently Ryan L83 has moved on to the intermediate tyres. Has anyone told him that the Inter's pole lap came to an end in qualifying?
Possibly not. Could just be going for his own rainbow challenge, for which we salute you, Ryan L83. Fair play to the Alpine Maestro on lap number 33. Concepts into the pit lane. That is another set of tyres strapped on to a piece of Formula 1 machinery. With no doubt it should be, in theory, the hard compound tyres, and that will complete the set. Yes, it is according to our telemetry. I would expect Lolly and Karim to box in the next few laps if they want to get those medium tyres on. Either that or they will gamble for that late safety car. I think it would be a bit foolish to do so, because Ben is just gaining and gaining and gaining. His charge has been quenched a little bit, about 1.5 seconds quicker than the race leader on the previous lap. But if they leave it too late, Ben's going to overthrow these guys, and he's going to be in the hunt for those lead too. And then he's gained that pit stop back. He's back in the conversation for the race win, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking 11.5 seconds now away from our P1 sitter Lolinoba right now. Tim Marduk's strategy is working, everybody. Purple in the first sector again on this lap. He could find himself in the 135.5s with another fastest lap now very shortly. So we'll wait and see. It was a 135.1 incidentally, actually, so it could be a 134 if he carries on. He's making his way around the final corner now. Let's see whether this once again strikes purple here in sector 3 as he crosses the line. Not quite enough for a fastest lap, but it's still very, very quick. A 135.794, which incidentally is still near enough 2 seconds quicker. 1.3 if you're really pushy, I suppose, here at this stage. Lolinoba, surely him and Karim have got to come in ASAP, and much the same Alex Gillen, because as time starts to ebb and flow away, the gap might be too voluminous against Tim Marduk to strike back, because they're going to lose so much time through the pit stop phase. And Tim Marduk, dare I say it, he's gone purple again in the first sector. Absolutely
relishing the challenge. Didn't quite work on the softs, but suddenly a cunning gamble onto the new mediums has propelled him right into the conversation for fun proceedings. There's your lead two, just going through in the foreground, the bottom left of your picture. Kareem 17, we ride on board with. And again, I love seeing the right-hand mirror in the halo column. That's my favourite part of the action on lap 34. Exactly what we wanted to see. Gillen and that guy Vince, they've broken away from Safs though. That's great news for the Red Bull driver in 6th place, because without that DRS assistance, it's an easy avenue to 5th. And then just 4 cars between himself and almost certain lead, as Ryan L83 gets a 10-second penalty for illegal blocking. You can see yellow flags just before the end of the second sector split. It's all a bit chaotic at the moment. I think that's his attempt to get into Scotty Design's meme recap, and I'm sure Scotty's going to put a nice tasteful one in there for him after that exchange. So there we go. Look forward to seeing that, folks. Be sure to tune in to Scotty Designs, by the way, meme recap. As now Tim Marduk crosses the line, once again it's a 135.659. It was a purple first sector on that last lap once more.
and dare I say, 1.9 seconds off Lolinoba's last lap time. So still running in the fast laps. It's 9 seconds now between Benjamin Daly and P1's Lolinoba right now. It's creeping inwards all the time. The question is, will the early pit stop onto the medium compound be enough as Chappers now drifts past Sparks into 10th place now as he hunts down after Infratic. These three with a 9.3 second gap to Grid Jokes in 8th.
At number 35, it's all happening, ladies and gentlemen. Would you believe it? And now only 2 seconds away from Safso. He has clawed his way back into that DRS. So it's not all bad news for the RB driver, not all bad news for the people fighting for top 3 in the first place. But with that tyre offset, with the softness of tyres in question, how much longer could they possibly hold a fight for? Safso ebbing and flowing out of that DRS range. And that will all be that Ben needs to see. 4/10 quicker through the middle sector. It's the last in the first sector where he really extracts the potential out of the tyres. Gains another 0.3 of a second in just that section of corners as we watch down the straight. Chappers versus Fabio round the outside. Shows the Williams nose. Can he hold it? Well, guess what? They're going to do battle into the stadium section. A rise in the Parthenon. It's not a Greek tragedy, partially because it's the wrong country, but also because it is absolutely divine as Chappers moves through. Fabio then takes up the gauntlet as well to hold it round the outside. Chappers should be just nice and clear, but no, holds it wide. That opens the door for the McLaren once again to show the nose in, to have a go at the move, and he makes it stick.
Fabio said please, and Chappers gladly obliged as now Safso makes his way back out onto the track. TMM Marduk, as a result of that pit stop, moves up to 5th place. Meraki down in 6th. Grid Jokes now 7th. Safso is going to split between Grid Jokes and Infratic right now as he drifts into the S-Bend section. Fabio now back down to 10th as Chappers moves himself back into 9th. 20 laps to go here at the Circuit of the Americas. It's still Lolinoba for the Italian contingent in control, in charge for the Ferrari team in a bid to once again winning a race in the Creator Series to further his championship charge. Karim 70 still remains though within DRS range. Alex Gillen 3.8 further back as well and still has to pit, much like our 2 race leaders have to as well. Same can be said for that guy Vince at the moment. Your net race leader is Tiamat Marduk down in 5th place. And if you want to talk about gaps, the gap between him at the moment and Meraki, well, just look at that, 13.7 seconds, Carl. Can you imagine what it's going to be like for Lolinoba and Karim in the final 20 laps of the race?
Absolutely, and Karim 70, yes, shows the nose to the inside, goes for the new set of tyres. That's a good call from the Aston Martin driver to get that initial advantage. It will have to be the medium compound tyres all the way to the end of this race. And I was going to say they have to react to Safso because I thought he played a really smart game by taking those mediums on that lap. They can easily go 20 laps. Another brief yellow flag moment. Just trying to find who it is. I believe it is B-Roy once again, but he will regain the track with Floridian flair and finesse. And indeed he does. A little bit of showboating. We love to see it. Kareem, where does he emerge in all of this? Lolly with a 4-second gap to Alex Gillen. Has that guy Vince in his clutches. Kareem 70 emerges ahead of Meraki. That is absolutely crucial. Even with 5 laps worth of a potential undercut, the warm-up phase is absolutely horrific. He had a few seconds to make up anyway, and Kareem 70 all but safe to push those medium tyres to the maximum.
And he's going to have to push as well. I will say this, Tiamat Marduk went purple briefly inside the first sector. Has been ripped away, though, by Zafso, who is also now on fresh medium tyres. Good to see our Season 1 champion back in business. A virtual safety car has now made its way out. Concept 7 has gone. Not quite a full safety car. If anything, this is probably good news for Tiamat Marduk. And I would suggest if you're Lolinoba, you've got to go for it. You surely have to pit at some point, though. I think the VSC is likely to come to an end before he even reaches the pit lane. But it would probably be a good time for him to come in and box anyway to at least make use of any stoppage at this point.
Well, I'm seeing Rhino 83 and Scotty Designs, by the way, parked up at turn 1. I'm not going to say anything, but I think there might be some games being played. You can see their 2 dots just after turn number 1, stopped on the track. They were stopped in the pit exit, which is a rookie error. That won't bring out a safety car. It's still not bringing out a safety car. This is quite tragic. As Lolinoba peels into the pit lane, DRS has been enabled under the VSC. I don't really know what's going on there, but regardless, into the pits comes Lolly, into the pits comes that guy Vince. Ben and Alex do stay out, it looks like, and it's green flag running. No safety car upgrade for them, and we'll see where Lolly and co emerge compared to the likes of Kareem 70. Out of the pits comes Lolinoba, no real surprise. He's going to emerge out ahead. Kareem will be ruining his luck. He thought he played a blinder. It's an absolute tragedy for the Aston Martin.
Well, just a little update to those of you in the chat. I can see a few names, a few people questioning whether Ben will make it to the end. He will, folks. I'm sure he will, because it's approximately, at this stage, 18 laps until the end of this race. He's done 11 also already. So it's going to be a tight squeeze. We'll wait and see. But we have seen tyres go into the 20s already. So maybe a little bit of saving on Tiermet Malik's part, unless he's going to try and map out a final stint on the softs. That is a potential decision that he may choose to make. He's 2 seconds back from Gillen, but remember, Gillen still has to stop as well. At the moment, if we look at Karim's gap to the top, it's 13.4 seconds. So if Tiermet Malik does come in, he'll probably want to wait a little bit longer into his stint to move on to fresh softs if he wants to do any damage to Lolinoba's lap time. But the big question mark will be, how much can Lolinoba close back to Tiermet Malik if Ben does indeed want to come in and box for a fresh set of tyres? It's a big game of chance right now.
It is. I feel like it could be potential goal hanging for that late safety car as well, as Gillen does stay out and Ben's going to stay out too. So those two might be just holding out a little bit of hope, as Gillen, of course, has to still make another pit stop to get those mediums on. Ben has used up all the cards on the table on that front. Can run to the end if he wants to. 34.4 though. Fastest lap of the race, and that was 2 seconds quicker than what Tiermet Malik was doing. So those new mediums immediately getting to work. Of course, the VSC ending might have had a bit of a compromise on that, but regardless, Chappers through the final corner in P9. He's actually gapped Fabio as Sparks comes on in, has to get those medium tyres on, so it's just whittling away at that. There might well be goal hanging for that late safety car though, make no mistake about that.
I think Benjamin Daly is probably hoping for a late safety car, I think, just to get a second set of softs put on. I'd imagine if he's going to pit, he'd have to do it around about lap 45, somewhere around there. In the meantime, I believe we do have TK ready. I'm going to drop him in the deep end. TK, over to you.
All right, George, I'm ready this time, and I've got 3 things for everything to try and keep an eye on. First and foremost, I want to take and cast your minds back all the way to lap 13. This is something we missed with Scotty Designs, by the way, and I want to call this move brave, but I think there's probably a few more choice words that other drivers would have for it. It was certainly an ambitious move down the inside. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get it up and stopped in time, and does end up facing the wrong way. That's what happens with himself. And then again on lap 32, as he's having a bit of a scrap with Leroy and I think Ryan L83 just coming back to fight one another. Somehow manages to spin his rears in the pits, and again just slows down B-Roy to the nth degree. And one final one, which brought out that VSC, which is everybody's favourite question here in the Creator Series. This is what happened when Concept 7, again, I want to say misjudges the pit entry and maybe decides to stay out on track. You let me know what you think of this one, because either way, it was a little bit ambitious. We've still got 20 laps to go. If you watch it, decides to head into the pits, thinks about, maybe not, clips the wall, and off he goes, rear wheel detaching from that Williams. And unfortunately, he's taking an early shower.
Goodness me, that is quite something. Well, thank you very much, TK, for that. It's going to be a painful version of the meme recap for poor Scotty Designs, I think, Carl.
I believe it is, although he might well be clip farming for the meme review. Just a thought, maybe, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, Tiermet Malik, he's found his target. He's blitzed his target. Now we have the race leader once again. He's retaken it on those medium tyres. But where do you play it from here, ladies and gentlemen? Alex, he's got no choice. Has to stop again. But like we say, goal hanging very much possible. The two behind, though, in 134's range. Lolly, Kareem's done very well to catch up back to that DRS. The bit between his teeth, of course, ruining the luck that he had. But they're going to be catching up hand over fist. There they were, just in the bottom of your picture. Before we switch to the triple right-hander, into turn number 19 we go. Easy to get a track limits warning or two. Luckily, that script doesn't manifest itself, and these two are still squeaky clean on the penalty front. Heading on to lap number 41. We'll look at the lap times briefly. 35.9 for Tiermet Malik. Alex Gillen about a second, maybe a second and a half off that. Lolly crosses the line, is a second quicker than Ben. They are reeling him in.
the way I'm looking at it at the moment, Carl, if he was to come in, Tiamat Marduk, on lap 45, at that point, Lolin Ober and Karim should be on his tail by that point. So he has got to pit. Surely he's got no choice, because at the end of the day, if anything happens, I mean, at the end, you know, give yourself a chance on the soft tyres right to the bitter end. I appreciate that only a safety car might do the business for you, but you really have to come up with something, and there's no point being in free fall over other positions when there is a chance that big points can be won. Meraki, of course, who boxed earlier on onto his hard tyre set, he's down in 5th at the moment, 12 seconds off the top right now, so could be on for a podium the way things are stacked right now. And Alex Gillen, of course, also chasing for that safety car. He's on 32 lap old hards, and I think, no doubt, well, he's going to have to go for the medium, so I'm surprised he's been out this long.
Absolutely right. Do you know what's funny though, Alex Gillen, despite the hard compound tyres and whatnot and following Ben, as soon as he follows Ben, suddenly it just makes him tick. He did a personal best first sector of his entire race, despite being on the older hard compound tyres and being in the dirty air. So, Alex Gillen, fair play to you, maestro. Do these two peel into the pits? Do they finally pull the trigger? The answer is absolutely not. You do push your luck, though, trying to go for that intentional safety car, because you just don't know what the gaps between other people are going to be. There's still close battles going on. You've got Adam and Sparks in P12 and 13, 15th down to 17th. There's still a close quarter battle going on there. So you just have to rely on the luck of people that aren't having a great race. We've already lost one in the form of Concept 7. They're gambling on another. But at the moment, everybody's just having fun out there at Kota.
I've got a theory, Carl, and it's supported a lot by what TK's been observing to us in our little commentary chat that we've been having. And I just want to say this. I don't think the time gains from Lolin Ober and Karim are ultimately down to Tiamat Marduk's tyres falling off. I think this is Tiamat Marduk slowing down purposefully to try and save his compound of tyre. TK giving us some information that apparently only 35% have been currently used so far. Could finish the race on 75, so that's more than achievable. I think he's waiting and biding his time for when Lolin Ober and Karim do show up, and then try and hang on to the end. It'll basically be a DRS battle right to the checkered flag.
Oh, here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen this one before. It's a guess against other people's wear, of course, but I mean, look, they're within 2 seconds already. I can only suspect, I mean, we saw it with Ben when he had those soft tyres on, the surplus he had. Different ball game, of course, mediums versus mediums, but having 10 or 11 laps worth of a surplus is more than enough to blitz your competition, and more than enough to extrapolate a decent result as through they go. They're nearly within DRS. Scratch that for that matter. Through the final corner. Look at that gap. Under a second. They are within DRS range on lap number 43. And let tactics commence.
Yeah, of course, soon Alex Gillen's going to have to box, because he's the only driver currently sat inside the top 7 that is yet to move on to all 3 compounds. He's got a set of medium tyres waiting for him in the pit lane. He still remains, though, 2 tenths away. And the only reason I can fathom that Alex Gillen is able to stay in tow of Benjamin Daly right now is because Tiamat Marduk is essentially slowing down to try and save the tyre life on his medium tyre sets. And it does seem to correspond with what we're seeing as far as the data is concerned. Lolin Ober down in 3rd has just put in a personal best inside the first sector and starting to encroach now on the back of Alex Gillen. Yellow flags now raised in sector 1. Nothing really to get too worried about here right now, but of course we have seen some carnage down at the very bottom of our timing screen, of course leading to the demise of Concept 7 and Brandon Miles through the course of this race, as now they fly down through towards the next left-hander at the heavy braking zone into turn 12. Alex Gillen having a little look on Tiamat Marduk, and I think at the same time, bidding to defend against Lolin Ober, who's hot on his heels right now, and I'm sure that Lolin Ober will want to make short work of Alex Gillen. The rear light flashing on the back of the Alpine, taking the long way around here. Lolin Ober looking for the momentum as they now look to creep around turn 16 and 17. Alex Gillen doing enough, though, to keep back the Italian championship leader. Karim also part of the party. Your top, 3 of your top drivers in the championship now coming into fruition, as now they look to go wheel to wheel again, and it is Lolin Ober and Karim this time, battling over 3rd place. Gillen still in 2nd, but they now make the run up through towards turn 1. Inside line here now for Karim, as he now looks to charge on Alex Gillen. Contact! Oh my goodness, Karim very nearly round saves himself. could have collected Lolinober at the same time, but that was high drama here on lap 44.
Crucially, stays ahead of Lolinober as well, even after all of that drama had unfolded. Kareem 17 up into P3. And it's in his best interest to do that. 3-second time penalty on the Aston Martin driver's head. And what we're seeing Ben and Alex work together. Unbelievable stuff. Don't scratch your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. It is really happening on lap number 44 here in COTA in Season 12. Just holding it within a second. Briefly goes outside of it, but Alex was well within the detection point. Rear wing will open. And, well, it was Lolinober who laid down the challenge last time. Kareem 17 is going to lay it down this time, already saving the battery. Could go for a brave dive and dart to the inside for Alex Gillen, though. Putting up the defense. Kareem will try and hold it round the outside. Has to go all four wheels off the track to keep himself in contention, but does make the move stick. Kareem goes through. Lolly follows through as well. And surely that's Alex's cue to peel into pit row.
Well, let battle commence. Kareem 70 and Lolinober have both now managed to dodge past the, basically, revolving wall of Alex Gillen. Those 35-lap old hard tyres finally betraying the two-time champion. And now as they make their way through the final corner and then heading up through towards turn 1 on lap 45 of 56, 11 laps of magic to bring you. Kareem 17 now going and looking down the inside of Tim Etmark, but I think it was more in defense of Lolinober as they encroach at the top of the hill and head downhill again in towards the S-bends. It is Benjamin Daly, your race leader, but 10 laps are the difference between his tyres and Kareem 17 behind, and add another lap to that of Lolinober's down in third as well. Two cars with better tyre compounds facing off now against the Aussie out in front, but I've got to say, Kareem 17 looks far from comfortable out there on circuit right now. That rear end is all over the place, Carl.
It really is. They're trying to make up for lost time because they've got that penalty up next to their name. They peel to the inside, compromise their own line. Yes, they've got the newer tyres, but that's just going to allow Ben to have a better chance of defending into this left-hander. We watch from the rear view of the Red Bull. Slipstream all the while, gaining some more to the outside line. Goes Kareem 17. Ben will be brave on the brakes, though. We've seen him do this before. Two keys out of this race, but he's done it in the pit lane. No consolation for Gillen or for Ben. It's just going to have to be all-out warfare through the right-hander into the stadium section. Kareem takes the lead of this race. Lolly will try and follow him through with a sumptuous switchback into the triple right-hander. Ben, though, with the narrow line, minimising the distance, still holding it side by side on the older tyres, gets the nose ahead. And that was not what Lolinober wanted. Kareem has a chance to try and escape.
And the big thing for Tim Etmark, it's not necessarily Kareem 70 at this point, it's more Lolinober that Benjamin Daly's worried about. But of course, maximum points have to be on the mind of Tim Etmark, and it's going to be a lot harder now. 19 laps on his mediums, and another look this time from Lolinober. He's going tight into turn 1. Benjamin forcing him to the inside as they rub the paint off each other's cars and descend downhill through towards turn 2. Tim Etmark doing everything and anything he can to keep the Ferrari at bay. The same team he took to the title in Season 6, and now he's facing off against them.
Oh, it's getting close quartered out there. It is getting very close quartered indeed, as outside of a second, Kareem 17 manages to escape. Ben turning off the battery. We've seen him do this one before. Lolly will send it down the inside and take P2 on the road. He'll have the DRS as well. Ben will have the slipstream, a chance to potentially retaliate. This is to take points off Lolinober. The tactics are well in force and in play. So Ben with the slipstream, without the maximum flappage available to him, shows the nose to the inside, goes late on the brakes, down the inside, has the car almost ahead. Lolly has to run off the track. Ben back through to P2. He's not letting this one go without a fight.
Not letting sleeping dogs lie at all. 10 laps remain. A little nudge in the rear from Lolinober as well. Making contact with Benjamin Daly. They came together again, and they're set to come together once more through the trio of corners. And the Ferrari now plows its way through in a second. Tim Etmark down into third. These two dancing around this COTA circuit, and Alex Gillen, who still remains out on 37, soon to be 38 lap. Old hard tyres, somehow still remains within DRS. We now go on board with Tim Etmark as he now climbs uphill. He can't afford to lose DRS. Let's listen to Alex Gillen.
Is that it? No, he's in the pits. He's in the pits. Well, Tukey defied the rules by boxing into the pits. I would do it anyway, though. I'll do it myself.
You get a sense of collusion here, Carl?
Potentially. Well, at least he's honest. If nothing else, he would do it as well. Of course, time has run out for their quest for an intentional safety car. There are people still on lap 46, though, that can sprinkle a little bit of final chaos into this Grand Prix. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, though. Lap number 47, we have Sparks, Matt 2-on-2, and Adam Sanderson crossing the line. It's down to Mango Slayer, Scotty Designs and co. If they want to bring it out, they possibly could. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Alex does have to box and get those mediums on. No advantage to be extracted there. Neither for Tim at Marduk if he wanted a potential second stint on a set of mediums or a late call to soft compound tyres. Tukey leaves the session. And so we go to the end. Lolly trying to reel in Kareem 17, who's looking to make up that 3-second deficit in order to win this race outright. Ben just remaining in DRS. That could be very out of the question in a matter of moments' time. In fact, there it is. Lolly breaks the DRS window for the time being. Ben will do everything he can to stay in it, but resistance is futile.
Well, Lolinova's focus now is going to be on the man leading the race, but also at the same time, remember Karim does have a penalty. 3 seconds as Alex Gillen now comes into the pits to finally change off his set of hard tyres that have seen him move through 39 laps of action in this United States Grand Prix. Meraki now as a consequence up to 4th, that guy Vince up to 5th, Zavso into 6th. It will be fresh mediums now for Alex Gillen, conforming to the trio of dry tyres that the drivers must use throughout the entirety of this United States soiree. Lap 48 of 56, 6 laps to go. Tim Marduk just hanging in there, trying to grasp back onto DRS. Karim 17, though, despite leading, 3 seconds of time penalties will, or could, find him even behind Tim Marduk if somehow Benjamin Daly can stay within DRS or regather DRS on Lolinoba. As now we see Ryan L83, Scotty Designs, by the way, moving up his inside, and out of turn 12, Scotty moves into 15.
Hearing that B-Roy is taking the hit, what hit is that specifically? Because he can't exactly bring out the intentional safety car. It could be an execute order 66, ladies and gentlemen. It is entirely possible. But B-Roy, here he is, with some Floridian flair in the RB. Not too far away from Scotty Designs and Ryan L83. But Kareem possibly gambling on the fact Lolly can get another warning in this race. It is absolutely possible. He's on 2 warnings at the moment. He gets another one. Suddenly, the lead changes hands again. Kareem 17 will be in the pound seat to win this race. Lolly on the newer tyres, though, back into that DRS range. So how on earth do you play this? Look at the swapperoo up ahead, by the way, between Ryan L83 and Scotty Designs into turn 1 as they just duke it out all the way through. Lolly and Kareem are going to duke it out for yet another time in this race. We're hearing that B-Roy and co are only starting lap 46 now. So there is still time.
Yeah, there is indeed still time. Lap 49 of 56, everybody. Karim and Lolinoba back to within DRS of one another again. And Lolinoba, despite getting this win, potentially one and done, even with the penalty that Karim has got, he'll want to do it on track. He'll want to obtain another on-track race victory, which will be, if it does come to the fore, a 3rd win of the season. His first one of the campaign came back at Budapest. That was in round 3 at Hungaroring. And then it was Zandvoort, who went to the Dutch circuit, as now Lolinoba looks to strike while the iron's hot now. And we've got a yellow flag, a virtual safety car out on circuit. We've lost someone else, and it is B-Roy who's gone, and Tukey as well. So there we have it. 2 retirements and not a safety car in sight. A VSC.
And there it is.
And now we get a full safety car as well. So we do have a full safety car. And surely decisions are going to be made. One final stint onto the soft tyres. What are your thoughts, Carl?
Well, I mean, it's going to have to be a soft tyre slobber knocker to the end now, hasn't it? And now we've got Kareem, Lolly and Tiamat Marduk on their way. I saw Ryan L83 and Scotty just parked on the track as well. Absolutely cinematic spectacle from those two, as they've been giving us all the entertainment right at the back of the field. And now we have a safety car to boot. There's Ryan L83 doing a bit of rally driving. What do you do if you are Lolinoba and Kareem? The answer is surely you pit, and the answer is yes, you do. Ben's going to pit, everyone's going to pit, run it back again. The pit lane has ignited into life.
Bad news for those that have used their fair share of soft tyres already. What this does mean, with 6 laps to go, is that we could see a couple of laps towards the very end. Lolinoba now moving on to a fresh set of medium tyres. But the question is, what are the others going to use? Tim Marduk on the softs, Carl. We have got some discrepancy in terms of the tyre selections here. Quite a mishmash at the moment. Karim 70 also on fresh medium tyres. We've got others now moving on to softs. Alex Gillen, Meraki. I tell you what, we're going to be in for a barnstormer now here at the very end. It's going to be very compelling. You don't want to miss it. You're going to be in for a treat, folks. Incredible stuff. I'm going to bring a man in that we do love to speak to in these situations, just for the hell of it. TK, I hope you're ready, mate. Can you give us your thoughts on this safety car?
I'll tell you what, I'm watching behind the scenes, you can see kind of on my screen at the moment. It was an interesting one from a lot of perspectives. Not many drivers were anticipating it. Obviously, for them on their screens, it was lap 48, 49. So in their heads, well and truly clear of that intentional safety car period. What they hadn't necessarily thought about, though, was those three drivers that we mentioned earlier, the likes of Scotty Designs, Ryan L83, and I believe B-Roy as well. So all three of them were only just in the middle of lap 46, which technically, according to the rulebook, as long as you are on that lap with 10 to go, as we saw in Canada, then it's legal to cause the intentional safety car. Has it annoyed Gillen? Absolutely. Is it funny for the show? Absolutely.
We love it. Thank you so much, TK. High drama here in the Creator Series, everybody. We love it, don't we? Carl loves it. He's got a big smile on his face.
Yes.
17 with Lolin Ober. There's a gap of 7.5 tenths at the moment. Tim Marduk, third place and on soft tyres. Do you make him the bookie's favourite here, Carl, in this situation?
I think I probably have to. I'm surprised that nobody else went on to soft tyres, truth be told, unless they had just burnt through them in qualifying. But yeah, surprising that Karim and Lolly didn't go bold and brave and also go on the softs. Because we've seen this script before. Of course, completely different to the hards versus softs conversation. But still, you've got a man chasing the championship. His third potential championship in the Creator Series. He's got the soft tyres at his disposal. He sees those ahead on harder compound tyres. There's only one conclusion that we can take from this. He is going to do everything and anything in his power to win this race. And at the same time, ensure that that gap in the championship is cut by as much as possible.
Well, remember, 28 points after qualifying. That is how we're currently stacked. And that is the difference between Lolin Ober and Tim Marduk in the championship. Do let us know, as I often like to get you guys to let us know. What are your predictions in the live chat? We want to hear from you. We might as well rip up what we saw in qualifying. Although maybe not. I mean, at the end of the day, all three drivers, Karim, Lolin Ober, Tim Marduk, were in the firing line at the end of qualifying. But do let us know, who do you think now with the tyre selections in place? Obviously, bear in mind, Karim and Lolin Ober on mediums. We've got Tim Marduk now on softs. And further down, Alex Gillen, he's also on medium tyres. And then even lower down, Meraki on fresh softs as well. And don't forget that guy Vince, who's also a shrewd mover. Soft tyres and in P6. I wouldn't write him off either. Let us know in the live chat. We got Ben being tipped in the live chat. Adblocks, Young Sheldon, also Alpium, as well as Young Sheldon again. He's still tipping Ben. We got Cleem as well saying go Ben. We got come on Ben, says King Yesy Dev. Who else? We have got someone saying Carl Giles saying does Sharp Karim with the pen. You're probably right. I mean, obviously with the 3 seconds, he is not going to find it easy to win this one. The Bard Tsunami saying Ben as well. But yeah, let us know in the live chat, folks. That's what it's there for. Carl, your thoughts?
Benjamin Paley getting lots of love.
Benjamin Paley, pen for Ben.
51. My goodness me. But I mean, I have to say Tim Marduk. I can't really see it going any other way unless we did see it earlier on. He does overcook the braking points. He's not immune to it. It's happened many a time. But at the moment, he's just got 2 cars between him and victory. 2 cars between him and another race win. It would make him, well, 2 wins to the good. His home Grand Prix last time out, shining under the spotlight in the land of the stars and the stripes. It is entirely possible. Loads of you also asking about tyres, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we did show you them, but also if you want to join us in being engineers here in the Creator Series and having a look behind the scenes, we actually have another Twitch account where you can look at that. Creator Series GG. That's Creator Series, letter G, letter G. On there, you can see all of the pit stops, all of the tyres, the warnings, you name it. It is a great way to get a behind-the-scenes look at all of the action that happens on track as we cross over to lap number 52.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the precipice now, folks, of this United States race. 4 laps to take us to the bitter end. It has been a gargantuan scrap, a gargantuan battle. But nonetheless, the drivers still survive. The drivers still remain the top 2 in the championship, bidding to become race winners here in round number 8 with 2 to go before the end of the season. It's all happening with Japan coming up after this. We then have a finale, a sprint weekend finale at Sao Paulo for the Brazilian Grand Prix. As we ride on board with Meraki, former champion. We've got a few former champions inside the top 5 right now. 2 of the most successful champions in history as well. Tiemet Marduk, 2 championships. Also carries the most podiums of anybody inside the Creator Series with 60 against his name. Alex Gillen with 30 wins against his name. The most in the Creator Series in terms of race wins achieved. And also most top 10s go in the way of Tiemet Marduk with 114 as well. Truly exceptional numbers that are certainly beyond the pale of what many could expect as we run on board with Karim 17 in the bottom right hand corner, trying to get his tyres as warm as possible. He knows he's up against it now with a penalty against his name, 3 seconds. That will see him cascade down through the order, especially given the safety car. Lolinoba, effectively your net race leader for now as we get confirmation the safety car is in this lap car.
Absolutely. Well, all the statistics to back it up for Tiemet Marduk and Alex Gillen, even Meraki into that equation, we can throw him. But then you've got these two. It's been amazing to see the rapid rate of development and improvement in so many drivers to have made their mark on the series, to have flown the flag in their respective camps, Aston Martin, Ferrari, you name it. Some even going a level beyond, turning off assists, giving themselves the removal of that safety blanket to push themselves to an even higher stratosphere. Karim 17 will lead us on. It's green flag racing, and we wait for the green machine to pull that all-important trigger.
It's going to be on Karim to decide when we quicken up to full speed now. Lap 53 awaits, and Lolinoba waiting in the wings, weaving that Ferrari front wing all over the back of the rear of the Aston Martin. Tiemet Marduk also there and thereabouts as they take the turn now. And across the line, they're going to put pedal to the metal for the 3rd time in this race now. Karim 17 may lead, but here comes Tiemet Marduk. Early now, he pounces. Coming through turn 1, Alex Gillen doing the same. They're going to try and beckon his way down the inside. A battle for the lead ensues. Karim 17, Tiemet Marduk looking to move into 2nd, and he does! Tiemet Marduk into 2nd place. Now next up is Karim 17, but what a crucial move in the context of the championship.
All stemmed from Karim 17, just defending the inside aggressively at the restart. Lolly had no choice. He carried so much speed in, had to sit on the outside of the Aston Martin driver, and the Red Bull now has an optimum opportunity. Look at Gillen, really aggressively throws the nose to the inside because Meraki is on the prowl as they head onto this DRS straight. No DRS, of course. No straight line speed assistance. Not switched on yet until the end of this lap. Ben knows it. He's just going to keep it cool and calm for the moment. Gillen down the inside of Lolinoba. How crucial could that be as well? Not much difference in the age of the medium tyres. And the Alpine Ace running round the outside. Takes 2 to tango in this delightful dance at the stadium section. Arise all in the audience because Alex Gillen has displaced the championship leader. Meraki has done the same.
Meraki moving through into 4th place. Lolinoba, the championship leader, now feeling the effects of others around him that might have just as good or better tyres. And indeed, Alex Gillen now looking to enter himself into the fold, looking to ruin Benjamin Daly's day. Well, have a look at this. How are those mediums going to hold out, though? Tiemet Marduk on 4 lap stops. And on the 17, we're on to lap 54, everybody, 2 to go. As they now cruise up through towards turn 1, downhill they will go again. Of course, now the S's await as they now look to cruise through. They're at the nose to tail of each other, every single one of them, all within DRS until Ryan L83, who is 2.7 away from Scotty Designs in 15 as now Karim takes them through the latter stages of Sector 1. It's purple inside the first sector here for Tiemet Marduk, and he's looking to rip away the fastest lap of Karim 17 by that same token. Remember, it was Karim with a 1:34.140 earlier on in the race. Well, now Tiemet Marduk has a chance with DRS as well when that arrives, and indeed it does, as they now charge down through towards turn 12 once more. Looking to break the toe is Karim. To the inside, here comes Benjamin Daly now swooping around the outside, and with a nose in front, a car in front, Benjamin Daly with a nose here in the lead of this race at COTA.
Just about makes it. Kareem's going to side up down the inside, though. He'll feel particularly aggrieved. It was a bit of a rude send, perhaps, in his opinion. But Ben just slaloms round the outside. No doubt about that. The soft tyres working wonders. With just 2 tours to go now, Ben leads this race. He doesn't have to fight this too hard, of course. Kareem wins this race. Ben will inherit the win regardless, but he goes through. He wants to win it on the track. He wants to send a statement. He gets the fastest lap of this race, a 33.5. Even more points flowing his way. And what a momentum swing this could be in the championship. But Lolly is on the prowl.
6/10 of a second quicker than Kareem 70's last fastest lap, the fastest lap to proceed. Tim Marduk's one, and he's just enlisted the 1:33.522. It now means that surely it's in the hands of the Aussie Diamond, who is now bidding to register yet another race win this campaign. It will be win number 18 if he pulls it together, and podium number 61 should he marshal his charge. We're on the penultimate lap. Tim Marduk, 4/10 to the good, but remember, Kareem still has DRS, and so does Meraki, who's already ruined Benjamin Daly's day before. If we look back to season 4, it was all decided as Spa-Francorchamps, and it ended in misery there. Here comes Kareem again up the inside and will retake the lead back against Benjamin Daly, who's back on his inside.
Again, a shoulder barge probably to pay the compliments of the Aussie ace, to say that was a bit rude last time out, my friend. Ben looks to the inside to defend from Meraki mostly, which he does. Just keep it in P2. That's all you need to do. But Meraki looking to spoil the party. The Amazon delivery was right on schedule. The ascension to a potential P1 also could have that next day delivery. Not going to happen at the moment. It has to be right here, right now. Last lap of this race. How does Ben play this? Lolly still down in P5. George, what a momentum swing we could see at a critical phase of the championship.
Well, Meraki is certainly slithering in, isn't he not? I must say, the snake is hard at work. Just look at him on the rear now of the Red Bull. The Haas now at home turf. Looking to move its way into second place, and also by extension, a potential victory on the final lap. You just never know. Benjamin Daly, though, will have the benefit of DRS on our race leader, Kareem, who has held well so far. Coming through the S-bends now, up the hill. Once again, he'll pounce. Turn 10, now downwards through towards turn 11. As they now look to cruise on through into the 90-degree left-hander, a little bit more than that, you may fathom, and just pushing the load onto that right-hand side of the car. As now you see Kareem look to dodge and weave over to the left-hand side in a bit to defend. Is Benjamin Daly close enough? We'll wait and see. The DRS now well and truly open. Meraki following suit now as well as they cruise down through towards turn 11. It is very nearly nip and tuck, but Kareem hanging on anyway. It won't matter. Benjamin Daly's only thought, stay in behind Kareem, hold position. By that same token, staying ahead of Meraki, that is so key, Carl.
Absolutely, just a few corners to go. Meraki's going to try and switch it through the triple right-hander, break the sound barrier. Ben's going to hold it, though. Kareem with the 6 seconds. Ben's going to have 2 wins to the good. What a swing this is going to be in the championship, George.
It certainly will. The final lap now has come to an end. And now back on top, it's Benjamin Daly, 2 times a race winner this season. Meraki home in second. Major points here earned for the Red Bull team today. Lolinoba, the championship leader, who fathomed, who visioned, or saw a vision that he would be a race winner once again for the 3rd time. That has been dashed. Your championship leader's points gap to Tim Marduk has come down. The battle for the championship is well and truly on. Alex Gillen finishing a valiant 3rd place as well after the safety car. What a race, everybody. That guy Vince finishing in 5th, Samso in 6th as well. Big points for the RBs, with Grid Jokes in 7th, Adam Sanderson in 8th. A big spin from Scotty Designs as they cross the line. But what a moment for the championship. Tim Marduk, take a bow. Your race winner here at the Circuit of the Americas. And it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong. Japan and Brazil to come. Don't go away. It's going to be pure cinema.
Could not agree more. Ryan L83 completes his Rainbow Challenge on the wet tyres. Having done about 11 million pit stops, it's certainly a record, and the donuts can commence. A reverse entry across the line to cap off what has been an absolutely cutthroat set of encounters at COTA. What a race we've just had. The ebb and the flow of the strategy the late safety car at the end to save the bacon of many. Ben takes home the full complement of points by a matter of thousandths of a second in the fastest lap. And you know what? It is a win to savour. He really had to work for it. Maybe he didn't think it was going to happen. The softs was an inspired gamble, and it is a just reward. Bring on the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, I must say this also a season of importance potentially for Tim Mardik. It will make him the sole most successful champion in terms of winning 3 championships. He's basically trying to pull a Jarno Otmir this season, who actually won his 3rd F1 Sim Racing World Championship last campaign to go ahead of Brendan Lee's record 2. But let's go through now the results. As you can see, race winner Tim Mardik, fastest lap going to Benjamin Daly as well, driver of the day. Ryan L83, he also obtained most overtakes by that same token, and cleanest driver given to Chappers F1 as well in the Williams. This is the results. This is how it looks. Benjamin Daly, Meraki, Alex Gillen, Lolinoba. Then we have that guy Vince, Zafso, Grid Jokes, Adam Sanderson in Fratic. Then Karim 17, who fell all the way down with that 6-second time penalty. Then there's Chappers, Sparks, Matt 212, Mango Slayer, Scotty Designs, by the way, Ryan L83, and we said goodbye to B Roy, Tukey, Concept 7, and Brandon Miles.
Superb. That was exciting, wasn't it? And if we wanted to see this championship battle alive and kicking, well, I think we've just got the answer to it. Back-to-back wins for Ben. Lolly off the podium only for the 3rd time this season. That could be a real kick in the solar plexus for our Italian stallion.
It certainly could be indeed. And what a race win by Ben. I mean, we always say never count him out, but he's really shown today how much, well, faith you have to have in the name, because he will come back from that adversity. And not only to drive, but to drive to perfection today.
An interesting one. TK, we had a lot of action in the latter stages, didn't we? Clipboard Corner, have you got anything else for us to dig our teeth into?
I'll be honest, there was so much going on, and I think most of it was caught on the broadcast because they were all so close together. What I can give you, and this is more verbal than anything visual, a lot of celebrations by Meraki, who was very happy with Peter on the podium. There was a lot of disappointment in Karim's heart when he found out he got that extra bout of 3-second penalties, making it 6 to his name, and you could just tell the disappointment ratified through. And as I alluded to earlier, Gillen, if it hasn't been explained already, was not happy with the safety car.
Was he not? Don't think I've ever seen that before. He did say he didn't practice either, which maybe explained the lack of pace. Is probably a bit harsh on Alex Gillen's time, but it felt like it just was a bit of a slow burn at the beginning. If he does jump into the interview later, it'll be fascinating to see what he thinks of it. I think, though, for a little bit of a chat, we should start in the order that they finished. It's all from Tim Mardik because of the technical difficulties that befell him. But if we can, eventually bring Ben in to have a discussion first and foremost, that will be absolutely delightful. Ben is here. I mean, where do we start? All of the technical problems, but London buses wait ages for one, and then we go back to back with race wins.
We do indeed. What a race! I mean, halfway through the race, I mean, I was loving life. I was different to everyone on like every tire strategy, and you know, at the start of the race, it made me look like the slowest driver to ever exist. And then when I put the soft side and everyone had hards, I felt like prime center at Donington. It was just such a yo-yo of a race. I also felt like I was in the mud. I had the fuel save, I had dead tires, and then the safety car came out. So, yeah. Don't know if I necessarily deserved the win, but I realize how lucky I am. So, yeah.
Well, we didn't get to hear from you, obviously, with the stream issues and the internet problems you were having. What was the game plan as it was progressing throughout the race? Found yourself in a poor position after starting on the hards, then absolutely rampaging your way back up to the top.
Yeah, so the safety car timing, the first one wasn't ideal for us. We wanted to run long on hards, and then that kind of got kaputted by having to go on softs. I decided to go softs because I knew I'd have to go through the whole warm-up phase again, and that was like 5 or 6 laps of doing that. So I was like, nah, I'd probably be in the same position if I took the hits and boxed for softs, which is what I did. And then that put me at a disadvantage after I started dropping off. So I made an early pit stop. I nearly made up a pit stop on all the leaders. And then something happened. The VSC happened, and then they ended up pitting under that VSC. They rejoined 10 seconds behind me, had a massive tire offset, and closed me in. And then from that point onwards, when I was on those mediums, I was just praying for a safety car. And luckily, we got one. And you know what? Because I had a this is like the icing on top. Okay, I had internet issues, which meant I couldn't stream, and I disconnected in qualifying. I missed out on one of my quali runs. That set of tires I didn't use is what I had on at the end of the race, and it helped me win the race. So when you get lemons, take lemonade, baby.
What goes around comes around. I was going to say that because qualifying, how important was it? Because you only got that one run at the end of the session. Superb lap from yourself to bank yourself third on the grid. How critical do you think that quality lap was to put you into the position eventually to pick up this win?
I mean, it was everything. It was a great lap. I said it feels like a clean lap, and I didn't take too much risk as well with track limits. And I set a PB on my banker lap on dry tires. So I was over the moon with that. But at the same time, quali, because of my starting tire, almost didn't matter. But it put me in a decent position anyway. So it probably did set me up in the end. So there we go.
And we have to talk about the championship. You were the first to be a multiple Creator Series champion. Gillen pegged you back, and then Jake got on level terms as well.
Wait, Gillen pegged
me?
The
opportunity now. We'll gloss over that one. Don't know what's been happening in co-op. But you've got the opportunity to be the first to get the triple crown in the Creator Series. How does that feel?
Oh, long old way to go. Lolly still has a 17-point lead, I hear from my chat. So, there's a lot of racing yet to come, a lot of scenarios to play out. And I don't get me wrong, I don't underestimate Lolly. He is incredibly consistent this season. Very, very fast, starting at the front every time, not making any mistakes. I got a bit lucky today, so I'm going to need to bring my A game every week to bring this to the last race. So I'll do my best, but, I'm not getting ahead of myself.
Look forward to seeing it. Ben, thank you very much for chatting with us, and congratulations on that second victory of the season, and a very lovely job for yourself.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Thank you very much indeed. And what a race it was. Very, very exciting. We're going to skip over Jake for the time being because another two-time champion is in the building. Alex Gillen, everybody. Third in the end for yourself, Alex. It felt like a bit of a slow burner, though.
Yeah, for sure. I went all in for the safety car. Normally in Creator Series, there's a safety car 10 laps-ish from the end. So I decided to go all in for that today. Stayed out a long time on those hards, but in the end, unfortunately, there's a safety car just a couple of laps after that, which is unusual. So yeah, didn't work out for me today. Definitely should have boxed about when other people boxed, Vince and Karim and Lolly. I was catching those guys very nicely on the hard tyres when we were on the same tyres, but I don't know if that was tyre wear, if that was fuel saving or what, but pace looked good. But yeah, strategy just a little bit off today. You never know if it went the classic Creator Series way with safety car 10 laps on the end, I'd have been cooking, maybe even looking at the win, but I'll take a P3 all things considered.
Yeah, falling just on the wrong side of luck with the safety car timing. The final stint, though, was fascinating because you were very punchy, as was Jake behind you, battling over what turned out to be second and third. The difference between the softs and the mediums in that last stint, I'm not sure if you had a fresh set of soft tyres that you could strap on, but from your perspective, what did you think would be the better tyre to go for?
Pretty soft, yeah, for sure. I did have a set of softs, which is why if I boxed when the other guys boxed, I could have then pit under that last safety car and put a fresh set of softs on. It would have been a much better race to me. So obviously hindsight's the wonderful thing. But yeah, I did have softs. Just as I'd only just pit, it wasn't really worth pitting again. I decided to take the track position, which in the end gave me a podium. So I think I made the right choice at the right time. It was just not pitting in the middle of the race. It was my only mistake, I think, of strategy.
And if we look at the final couple of races, obviously not in the championship battle, you said how much you're enjoying that in a different perspective to approach Creator Series with. Do you almost embody and really enjoy that role of spoiler with the title battle that's going on, where you can just kind of do your own thing and see what unfolds around you?
I do. Creator Series, obviously, we all know and love what Creator Series is, and I enjoy it the most when I'm not fighting for a championship, purely because fighting for a championship, results matter. You're sweating it, you try hard in it. And, if you're looking like you're going to win and you get a podium, you're angry. Like, you're annoyed. You're like, oh, no, you threw that away. Or if you make a mistake, you're raging. Whereas when you're not in championship contention, because it's Creator Series, none of that matters. It's brilliant. So you just have a great... I think I fist pumped over the line for my Hungarian Grand Prix result when I was about P10, was I? Or P8, something like that. It wasn't a good result. But I did a little weave over the line, little fist bump. I was genuinely buzzing. So it's just more fun when you're not in the championship hunt. So obviously my attendance has not been good this season either, so I never would have been anyway. I think I'm also missing the finale, annoyingly, so 4 races missed this season. I'm going to try and still get P3, but realistically it's probably going to be P6 for me this season, but I'll do what I can.
Championship charge shot there, but the vibe's absolutely on point with our former two-time champ. Alex, thank you very much for stepping in. Congratulations on the podium as well, and we will hopefully see you in 7 days' time.
Cheers, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you very much. And we will finally turn our attention to the third of our two-time champions, reigning champion in the building. Jake, welcome back, of course.
Hello.
I think only your second appearance this season and a very, very decent result for yourself.
Yeah, that was... If I told you the situation that I was in at 16, you probably wouldn't believe me, but I didn't have a throttle pedal on my rig at about 6 p.m. Because I broke a screw on it. And I was literally... Qualifying was the first 2 laps I had done on these pedals. So that's why I qualified P14. And then the entire race was just me learning these pedals and just slowly building up to it. And it worked out in the end. I had a very good time.
Got up to speed pretty quickly in the race. That first safety car seemed to get you in a position to get right in the thick of it with the 2 leaders and Ben coming through as well. And from then, you almost felt like the Joker in the pack with the championship battle going on in front of you with Ben and Kareem picking up the penalties as well. You could play that spoiler role really nicely.
Yeah, I was saying, I think under that last safety car, I had nothing to lose. So like, if I crash, then I crash. If I win, then I win. So it worked out in the end. Like that final safety car, it would have been good to see the final battle, because I think I would have caught up to Ben quite a bit in terms of strategy. Then we had like Vince behind me, Saf and Alex as well, who was on much fresher tires. So the strategy point at the end would have been interesting, but I guess at the same time, that safety car has also helped me get a P2, really. So, and this time I didn't spawn onto the podium on the last lap. We actually overtook cars. We overtook cars, and we made stuff happen.
I was going to say, it was punchy at the end from yourself. Nice little scrap with Gillen, and just couldn't quite get one over on Ben right at the deck. You must have enjoyed that final stint, though.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. I knew there would be like an opportunity with, I think it was with Karim, with the penalties anyway, and then Lolly and Alex on mediums. So it was all about kind of clearing them. And I think I had to clear Alex maybe on the restart to have a chance at getting Ben, because I kind of dumped a bit more battery to get past Alex. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. P14 to P2. I'm happy with what happened today. So.
And let's not forget as well, reigning champion, of course, and not going to be handing that crown over particularly easily. If you look at the final 2 races, what do you feel like your role fits in if you are going to be there, of course, with the reserve role that you've had this season?
Well, I won't be able to reserve for next round. You said there's 2 rounds left, right?
Yeah.
So I won't be able to reserve for next round. But the finale, if I can put the cat amongst the pigeons there and reserve and get a seat, then I will do that, just because it's funny. So we'll have a bit of fun in the finale if we get a seat.
Well, hopefully we do see you there. Jake, thank you for jumping in. Another podium added to the tally in your Creator Series career. 14th to 2nd. Excellent job.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much indeed. So, spoken to the 3 podium sitters. TK is going to join me back on screen. We can see how the championship complexion now sits. 18 points is the difference. That has been slashed. Lolanoba finishing in P4. Doesn't sound too bad, but when you consider Ben going back-to-back, that is a significant momentum swing, especially if you consider what happened in the first 5 laps of the race or so.
Absolutely. I think if you look at the race as an entire story, the first 5 chapters were completely different to where we got to when we reached the back cover. And it's something that is so frequent with the Creator Series show that, what happens at the start isn't necessarily how the race finishes. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But that's what we love about the Creator Series.
And that battle for best of the rest is going to be fascinating as well. Kareem, Razin, Vince, Gillen, we don't know attendances for all of them. Kareem was very strong today, but with the 6 seconds worth of penalties, dropping him from first at the line down to 10th. He's not in the best of form, Kareem. He's struggled with penalties in recent weeks, but we know that he can turn it on and turn it on to some tune.
Absolutely. And, we are going to see the return of Kareem of old. I have absolutely full faith in that. Whether we see it by the end of the season, maybe that's a different story, but come season 13, I'm almost certain we probably will see the original Karim back. Also, can we talk about GB for a moment? Only reserved a few races, but look how high he is in the standings.
You never lose it, do you? You never lose it. Constructors as well, I think, is going to be fascinating because Lolly in P4, the other Ferrari of Sparks, did a commendable job in 12th, but Red Bull with a really strong total. Ben first, Adam Sanderson in 8th. Double top 8 for themselves. Racing Bulls racking up the points as well. We firmly have a 3-horse race for that Constructors battle.
We really do. And again, I think this is going to be a race that goes down until the final round. Who knows what can happen in that moment? Are we going to see another championship stolen at the final corner? Because it could be that the Constructors gets dealt with in a similar way. Who knows? Because Ferrari are back to full force, hopefully, from next week.
And they need Ricky back because the form hasn't been great for Ferrari and looking so comfortable in the early stages of the season, just been falling away ever so slightly. We're going to bring the two commentators back in. Excellent job, we have to say. Starting with you George. Looked like an absolute barnstorm of a Grand Prix.
Oh, it was cracking, and it could only be on the 136th race of the Creator Series, I have to say. An integral race, I think, and what a great one for me to return to as well. It definitely looks like we've teed up the finale, have we not? Well, the two drivers that will be contesting for the championship. I mean, who better to lead us through than Lolin Ober and Timothée Marduk? I mean, this could be Timothée Marduk cementing himself as the very best that the Creator Series has seen, with being the only driver to obtain 3 world championships. Aside from that, could be Lolin Ober's first. So either way, a magnificent story to tell.
And Carl, how do you think that dynamic will play out over the final couple of races? Because Lolly obviously hasn't got an F1 championship, but he knows how to win a championship. Remember back to the F2, he absolutely dominated his title there.
He did, absolutely correct. And see, it's a tricky one. It's a meeting of minds, really, isn't it? I think Lolly knows that he's quick enough to win this. Absolutely. I think there's no disputing that whatsoever. I think Ben knows that he's tactical enough to win this, ultimately. He might not have the outright pace. We've seen it in qualifying. Lolly is, I don't know what kind of steroids he's taken, but he's head and shoulders ahead of the rest when it comes to qualifying pace. In the race, though, Ben's allowed to extrapolate his advantage over tactics. He's allowed to employ them a little bit more. So it's going to be so interesting to see that. And it wouldn't be the first time, perhaps, that we've seen a Red Bull from quite a distance back in the championship possibly snatch it at the last round.
The backdoor of all backdoors. And TK, the final 2 races, Suzuka and Interlagos, 2 of the most famous championship finale venues we've got in the history of F1.
Absolutely, and both have provided very thrilling racing in the past. If we think back to Suzuka, Ben and Alex coming together at turn 1 quite infamously. Brazil, I mean, there's so many incidents that we could probably try and go through, especially when the weather gets a little bit topsy-turvy. And who knows, Hayden Gullis might even throw a wild card in there for the final 2 rounds. We literally have no idea until the drivers know. So I think we are going to see some fantastic rounds to finish off this season.
Could not agree more. But for this week at least, that pretty much rounds things off. Been an absolutely fascinating one to be a part of. Before we go, though, make sure you check out all the Creator Series socials. They're above the 4 of our heads. Make sure you check them out and drop a follow. And for the panel alongside me, starting off with you, George, where can people find you on an internet if they want to find out what you're up to?
Well, Tom, if they go onto the internet, they can use @GeorgeMorganTV on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It's all the same. You can't miss it.
And Carl, where can people find you this week?
I'll tell you where they can't find me. The simply southerly showrooms of Swaziland. You won't find me there. But where you will find me, ladies and gentlemen, is at my name, Carl Paranik. If you type that in, you'll probably find me there. Gents, an absolute pleasure as always. Go follow the social medias. You know what to do.
Never misses a beat, does he, Carl, with his where he cannot be found. And TK, where can people find you on an internet also, or maybe around the globe?
Tell you where they can't find me, and that's hosting highly competitive hopscotch tournaments in the hotel lobbies of Helsinki. You won't find me.
That's a lie. I've seen you there. I've seen you there.
But if you want to check me out
commend the
online,
creativity.
if you want to check me out online, I'm at They Call Me TK on pretty much every single social media. Again, I echo Carl's comments. Absolutely thrilling team to be a part of tonight. And Tom, where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me, I haven't prepared this, you can find me, Wilco.coms on Instagram and TikTok. Also have to shout out because he hates it every single time. Gareth Allen, well done in the background.
Yeah,
cheer him
Gareth.
on, everybody. But thank you so much for joining us this season. Just 2 rounds to go in the Season 12 Championship battle. And we do have a former 2-time champion battling away with somebody looking to take it for the first time as we go from stateside to Suzuka in 7 days' time. Hopefully you will join us then. But until then, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you very, very shortly.